not our fault, but it turns out that our broadcast was muted. So you could hear the whole events of the story in our broadcast we did earlier, but this new one is going to... Turns out the mic was muted within PlayStation. So I fixed it. So we're live now. Just thought that was interesting. All right, let's go back. Yeah, because it's Emily. Emilie is in Fontaine. Yep. I named the video Emilie the Forensic Cleanser, because that's what she is. From everybody. Yeah, because I need shit for weekly crap. Alright. Let's go and focus on Emilie!
Yes.
List. And we are going to Orbos. Hunter, I will feed you in like 10 seconds. Can you just wait? Let me trigger the event. My cats are being annoying. I hate being loud on the microphone, and I hate being loud to them.
Hunter meowing?
No, he's eating cardboard.
Ah. Cardboard is not cat food, Hunter.
He don't care. Emily. Gonna go hang out with Emily.
I thought I told him to spray it with water to retain moisture before applying the film. You can't treat a glaze lily like a cactus. If Sanjay does this again, the loss will have to come out of his food expenses.
I'll go talk to him. At this rate, he won't even be able to afford eating cacti for much longer.
Okay.
Oh,
Tignari's gonna help us.
It's been a while. What brings you to Port Ormos?
We didn't have anything to do, and this place looked pretty lively, so we decided to stop by. But, what's with all the flowers around here?
Well, Port Ormos is currently organizing a flower exhibition featuring flowers and plants from all over Teyvat, so I came to help out. The exhibition includes flowers from every corner of the world, each with their own unique properties and needs. With that in mind, the curator commissioned a flower pot from Kasharawar capable of retaining heat and moisture. Even so, an expert is still required to develop tailored transportation and care plans for each type of flower.
Oh, and that expert is you, right?
Not this time, no. I'm just here to help out. The expert in charge is someone else.
Mr. Tainari! Sanjay! He confused the poisonous bowls with garlic shoots, and he ate them!
Never mind. Forget about what I said about the food expenses. Apologies, Traveler, Paimon. Looks like I've got something to take care of. I'll be back in just a moment.
Tainari's busy no matter where he is, huh? Yeah, seems like it. Hey, don't look at Paimon like that! Tainari's super careful about what she eats. Well, looks like Tainari might be busy for a while. Let's take a look around the port in the meantime.
Now I'm gonna be getting my gliding license. So where are you right now, Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at right now, Rachel?
Wow, look at these
on the couch.
Okay, I mean in the game.
I'm current.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay, I'm about to do this gliding thing.
I'm in Sumeru, but that's just because where everything starts.
Okay.
Rainbow roses, glaze lilies, and Cecilia's? No wonder.
It's getting worse. Why?
Oh. Did Paimon cough?
Paimon sneezing. The person who was talking was Emilie.
Okay.
But, I was just a moment ago. She didn't even eat anything weird.
They're allergic to
A
flowers.
moment of your time, you two? If it's not too much trouble,
Yeah, I
perhaps
can
you could
tell
try
that
this
Paimon
incense.
wants actual food. And begs for it.
Incense? Oh, the scent is so nice! Wait! Whoa, that was fast! Paimon doesn't have to sneeze anymore!
Think nothing of it. From your attire, I imagine you two aren't from Sumeru either. Seeing as we're both travelers from abroad, it's only right that we help each other out should the occasion arise.
Oh, so you're here for the flower exhibition too?
I suppose that's accurate. Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Emilie, a perfumer from Fontaine.
Paimon is Paimon! Thank you so much for your help just now. Oh, and this is...
The Traveler, right? I've heard a lot about you from the Steambird. It's nice to finally put a face to the name.
Paimon is Paimon.
Paimon talks in third person. It's great.
Yeah.
What happened back there? Why did Paimon start sneezing all of a sudden?
Have you ever heard of hay fever?
Yes, but this has nothing to do with hay fever.
To put it simply, when inhaled, certain pollens can trigger abnormal physical reactions.
But Paimon has seen these kinds of flowers before and nothing weird happened then.
Well, we're all different. The factors that can trigger a reaction to certain stimuli vary by person. In isolation, the effects of certain pollens may seem minimal, but inhaling various types at once can trigger a more overt reaction. But there's no need to worry. Pollen allergies can be effectively mitigated with the use of medication.
Oh, well, that's good.
Traveler, Paimon, there you are. Is everything all right? I left in such a hurry, I forgot to warn you about all the pollen in the air.
Wow.
Emilie? Ah, what a coincidence. Looks like my worry was misplaced then. The Traveler and Paimon are in good hands.
It was nothing, really. We happened to run into each other shortly after my arrival, and I offered them a bit of help, that's
Yeah, it's all the flowers.
I'm more curious as to why you thought the Traveler and Paimon were in danger. Allergies are highly unpredictable. If you were concerned the pollen might trigger a reaction, that must mean something similar has happened in the past.
Paimon saying, how in the heck
Remember the first time we met? You fainted after inhaling Spirit Borneo.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit Borneo didn't affect Paimon at all, and now she's the one suffering. It makes no sense.
It's not really something you can make sense out of, Paimon. There are all kinds of allergies out there, caused by a variety of different factors. Some people are even allergic to almonds. It's not something you can generalize.
Exactly. I even encountered a case in Fontaine where someone had an allergic reaction to soba noodles their family brought back from Inazuma.
Whoa. Good thing Paimon isn't allergic to anything delicious.
Are you a doctor, Emilie?
In a manner of speaking, although you could say the patients I deal with are rather unusual.
In addition to medicine, Emilie is also very knowledgeable about botany. She's taught me a lot about the native flora around Fontaine.
And that's where my expertise ends, I'm afraid. When it comes to breadth of knowledge, Tainari certainly comes out on top.
A flower expert? Oh, Paimon's got it! You must be the expert Tainari mentioned, the one in charge of the exhibition!
Wrong again, I'm afraid.
Well, I did come for the exhibition, but only to inquire about the Auguste variety. I'm not involved in any official capacity.
Oh, Paimon was sure she got it right this time!
It's a kind of flower that was once popular in Fontaine. The perfume made from it also bears the same name, Auguste.
Auguste, huh? That's not a name you hear often nowadays.
In an
Looks like
ancient
August with an E.
to mean sacred or noble. It's sometimes
Auguste.
used as a name for people as well.
Yes.
Ah, that reminds me. Are you familiar with the historical event in Fontaine known as Perfume Mania? Perfume Mania was an event that occurred in Fontaine nearly 20 years ago. It all started when several merchants released their own lines of high-end, expensive perfumes, marketing them as must-have luxury products, the very symbol of elegance itself. No one anticipated the absolute frenzy this would create on the market, causing the price of perfumes to skyrocket. The demand was twofold. What some saw as a status symbol, most saw as a money-making opportunity. You could take advantage of the soaring price by hoarding them and reselling at even higher margins. The value of these products became so inflated, regular bottles of perfume were even going for hundreds of thousands of mora. This resulted in countless disputes and scams. But at the end of the day, perfume is just perfume. The market value greatly exceeded the intrinsic worth of the product, creating an economic bubble that was never going to last. Luckily, the Palais Mermonia recognized the danger and intervened before the craze could truly spread. Many profiteers and scammers were thrown in jail as a result. In the end, only a few wealthy families were affected when the bubble popped.
It's good that the scammers got thrown in jail.
What does all this have to do with that Auguste you mentioned earlier?
Because we can't have any scammers wondering about
Well,
Tabot.
during the craze, the most popular perfume was none other than Auguste. The demand far exceeded the supply, to the point where it once sold for 10 million mora a bottle.
10 million? Then what about now?
Calm down, Paimon.
After the mania ended, most perfumes returned to a normal price. Auguste was the only exception. Its namesake, the flower used to create it, went extinct. As a result, no new bottles of Auguste have been made, and the value of the perfume remains exceedingly high. Indeed, the Auguste flower was not a natural variety, you see. It was specially cultivated for use in perfume making. When the bubble popped, all the flower beds used for its cultivation were destroyed in a fire. The variety has never been seen since.
Didn't you say you came to the exhibition to look
Switching
for
channels. No. Not switching
Yes,
channels.
I
I'm
came to
switching
investigate a
controllers
certain
for the
rumor that the
exam.
Auguste flower has reappeared in Sumeru.
Okay.
It's causing quite
Yeah,
the stir
because
in the
the other one
Fontaine
was
perfume
giving me
market.
some control stick drift.
it? Traveler, we should help Emilie look for it.
I have to agree. Emilie wrote me to ask if I could look into the rumor, but the forest rangers haven't received any reports of new plant species recently.
Even if I can locate the flower, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed, Paimon. I don't have any grand mora making endeavors planned. Divine, noble, one of a kind. All beautiful sentiments to be sure, but to me, they overshadow the very essence of the product. When it comes to perfume,
Amber,
I
how
want
did I
people
do?
to forget the price and the prestige, and focus on the beauty of the fragrance itself.
Wow, so noble.
Of course, there's also a more practical reason. In recent years, low-grade counterfeit versions of a goose have been popping up on the Fontaine perfume market. Every so often, someone will claim to have recreated the unique scent of a goose, and the rumor mill will start comparing the counterfeits to my own work.
Okay, that's more like the reason.
Well, you got lucky that the gliding exam changed. Gliding exam used to have to fly across Mondstadt on a timer. You had 90 seconds to reach you had to jump from the top of the church. Well, not top of the church, top of the statue. And go all the way down to the bottom of Mondstadt. Not of the town, not the area. You had to jump from building to building. And if you fell, you had to start over. You have it easier.
Grateful for your help, but I wouldn't want
It's definitely gotten a lot easier to do it.
Well, you said it yourself. We're both travelers from abroad, so it's only right that we help each other out.
Yeah, these grass slimes are really skittish.
I suppose you're right. Then you have my thanks.
Based on the information I have so far, it's unclear if the rumor is true. Mr. Edgar also thinks it's too early to say. But you could always go talk to him. He was there all those years ago, after all. Maybe he'll know something.
I was just about to pay him a visit at the hotel.
Edgar? Who's that?
The person you've been trying to guess this whole time. The flower expert in charge of the exhibition. He's also the most respected and experienced perfumer in the area. Back when he was still working in Fontaine, a goose was his creation.
I should also mention, he was my teacher, the one who taught me the basics of perfumery when I apprenticed in Smeru.
So this guy was a famous perfumer in Fontaine, but then he came to Smeru to teach people from Fontaine? It sounds confusing.
It's a long story. If you're interested, we can talk more about it when we see him. He should be staying near the hotel.
The next part, I think, of the exam is scaling, leaping across buildings.
Yeah, but you had to originally start at the top of the damn statue and jump off.
Okay.
It's a lot different than it was. Back then is a lot different than it is now.
Haley Curl saw nothing.
So apparently I made Kiri very emotional yesterday. China released its the 4th anniversary animation. Now, how China talks about Genshin is very different than how America perceives Genshin. And China tries to foreshadow content, like give its viewers like a metaphor understanding of what's about to happen next. And I sent it to Kiri and she got very emotionally. I wouldn't say she cried about it, but she definitely sent a GIF back to me of someone crying. And she's like, that is so cruel. Because she originally sent me a screenshot asking me if Venti was tied up in chains, if that was a part of the Archon costume. It's not. It's a part of a video that was released in China.
Oh, look at all the flowers!
So
I sent her the original video.
Apparently, the exhibitor paid a large sum to rent out
She
the
got
hotel
very
and surrounding
emotional
buildings.
about it.
They're being used as temporary storage facilities and lodging for exhibition personnel.
So I sent her the video that came out last year that explained Conria. And she thinks that the video is just a bit mean. And it's like, but this is how China sees the game. How America sees the game is very different than how China sees the game. And she's like, I don't know how they could be so cruel.
It's been so long, I almost didn't recognize you, Edgar.
Well,
It's a
you and your
beautiful
brother
telling
haven't
of the
changed a
story,
bit.
but it is a very
Oh, yeah, okay. All this
emotional
catching
story,
up is
don't get me
nice and all,
wrong.
but let's get down to
Yes.
business.
And then the
We need to talk
anniversary,
about Kiria.
the
Is he
4-year
home?
anniversary is tomorrow.
Hold on, we
That's
have
what she was.
guests.
It's nice
Oh,
to see you again, Master.
Emily? Is that you? Oh, it's been years. Look at you. You're all grown up. I've heard you've become quite the famous perfumer
Yes.
in Fontaine. It would seem the student has
The Genshin's a
surpassed the
very
master.
Oh,
powerful
well, it's all
game.
thanks to your
It's
mentorship.
just, the story is just
Hardly.
meticulously crafted.
I taught you the basics.
It is
Hearing you
very
call me
well
an
crafted,
I'm
considering
not sure I'm deserving of that title. I've taught many students here in Sumeru over the years.
if you look at just the animation that comes from China, it's a very emotional story.
And who
If
are
you
these
just look at what comes from
don't
China.
recall you mentioning them in your letter.
But
They're my new friends, the Traveler and Paimon.
but that's a big deal if you're just looking at it from one perspective. Because it took me a long time to find the animation I needed to. Bruce, you're fine.
Emily's friends. Well then, the pleasure is all mine.
And these two gentlemen? Are they friends of yours, Master?
Of course, we're perfume merchants from Fontaine.
Genshin.
I'm Ood, and this here is my younger brother, Blaze. Edgar and the two of us are old friends. Isn't that right, gentlemen?
Yes.
Merchant brothers?
You must be here to look for the August flower then.
Well, what respectable perfume merchant hasn't heard of a ghost? Anyone in the business would be interested in the rumors.
I'm guessing you're here for the same reason, Emily. We were just about to get into it, so you three might as well join in. I commissioned a few Eremites to do some scouting for me. They searched all over Sumeru, but there were no sightings of the August flower. That being said, there are people in Port Ormos who claim to have smelled a unique fragrance on the streets. Definitely floral, but still distinct. Some of them were merchants who lived in Fontaine 20 years ago. According to them, the fragrance smelled exactly like the August they remember from back then. A one-of-a-kind, divine, and noble scent.
Maybe someone around here just happens to have a
So
bottle
I'm
of
going to be doing
August from
part
back
2
then.
of the exam, standing at this
No,
ledge
I don't
of the
think so.
cathedral.
I doubt that's the case.
Okay.
Even if someone had a bottle that was never opened, the fragrance of the perfume would have changed
I'm
over
right
time.
in front of you, Amber.
Very few perfumes can go decades without a change in scent. Auguste is even more prone to that kind of shift. Only a few bottles still exist in Fontaine, and their scent would have completely degraded by now. Although, could there be a flower out there with a similar fragrance? Or in accord with the same base notes?
Impossible. If a goose were that easy to replicate, it would never have sold for such a high price all those years ago. The goose flower is back. It has to be.
Technically speaking, the scent wouldn't be impossible to imitate.
Well, let's table that question for now. Edgar, did any of those people mention where the scent was coming from?
No. By the time they realized they had smelled something, the scent was already gone. If I hadn't asked about it, they probably wouldn't have given the experience a second thought. Compared to things we see and hear, smells can be much easier to overlook.
It almost sounds like someone wearing the Auguste fragrance passed them on the street.
Wait, are you saying...
Just thinking out loud. Don't pay me any mind.
We don't have much to go off of right now, but we can't rule out that possibility. I'll send some more people to investigate.
Hi, Blueberry.
You all traveled so far to be here. Why don't you rest in the hotel for a bit? Ood, Blaze, this is the key to your room.
Ooh, you've got the keys to the rooms? Do we get free lodging too?
My apologies. All the rooms in the hotel are accounted for, I'm afraid. Most are being used for storage ahead of the exhibition, you see. I managed to tidy up one of the rooms for these two at the last minute, but by the time Emilie wrote to me, there was no more space left for her to stay.
Oh, and we just showed up out of the blue. Guess that means there's definitely no space for us.
I should have been more considerate. Here I am with an entire hotel at my disposal and no place to offer you to stay, even after you made the trip all the way to Sumeru.
Don't worry, Master. I can sleep on the boat.
I did.
Or I could even camp in the wild. It would give me the opportunity to collect some plant specimens while I'm here in Sumeru.
I had to make a new chat room for Genshin just because in order to make
even better.
Updates happen, I had to move some stuff around.
Although, would it be possible for me to leave some
luggage here? But I found the videos I shared with Kiri that she thought were emotional, but keep in mind, other than the announcement of the game, which is the first one, the second two were China's 3rd anniversary, which was last year, and this year's anniversary.
Of course,
but
no trouble at all. My brother and I will keep an eye on them for
they are very beautiful
you don't mind, mademoiselle.
renditions of story. Because China is very good at making. My theory on what happened between the traveler and their sibling and the Heavenly Principles has a lot to do with China's video from last year. Because I was wondering where people were getting the film from when they were doing it in their own renditions of stuff. And it's like, wait, where are you getting your footage from? I had to research the footage to find out that it was from China's original announcement of its new content. It's a very good watch.
The smell of flowers is so strong. Didn't Edgar say he tidied up around here?
I'm going to try to find some of the best things to pin in that group.
The window earlier and his house was packed with flowers. Looks like this exhibition is going to be huge.
Yep.
No, that's a florist thing. We work closely with the essential oils of various plants, but to maintain a sharp sense of smell, most perfumers prefer to keep their homes free of strong odors.
Oh, guess there's just too much to store for the exhibition then.
All right, take 2 for the exam.
Oh, this room seems to be a connected suite, and my brother will be staying on the other side of the suite. Blaze, while you're out, why don't you bring our luggage over as well?
Dun, 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 dun.
Blaze!
Yes, of course.
All right, then. Where can we find your luggage, mademoiselle? Blaze will go fetch it for you.
It's still at the port. In addition to some daily necessities, there's also a case of amber wine that I brought back from Fontaine. Could I trouble you to bring that back as well? It would be the perfect way to repay you for your hospitality.
How generous. I should thank you on my brother's behalf. You've stumbled upon his weakness. He's aloof about most things, but alcohol is his one true love.
Is that so? Mr. Ood, Mr. Blaze, thanks for...
Hey! What are you doing?
That's Master's voice.
Okay, the master gets kidnapped.
Edgar!
Master!
Hey, Edgar! Are you alright? Can you hear me?
I'm gonna glide all the way down to Ambra.
Kyria. Or Ghost.
Kyria! Hey, Edgar? Edgar!
No, don't shake him. He's injured. Just leave him to me. You two can... Oh, thank you.
Ready? Go. Mantling up here.
Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go.
Oh, I totally forget. We get a pet dragon tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm all for work-life balance, but I think this is pushing it.
Tomorrow we get a pet dragon as a gift. It's the 4th anniversary. That's the 2nd.
Oh no, we have a criminal on the loose. In Mondstadt. Raptor.
I need a road not taken. I need a road not taken.
That strange smell around here. Is it coming from this bottle? Really? You think so? Do you think whoever did this was hiding in the flowers before they attacked Edgar?
We have a criminal that's on the loose.
True.
Who's known to use gliding. Who's known to use gliders.
Not bad.
Oh, there's a cat. It's a tuxedo cat.
Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go. Not bad, as far as treasure is concerned.
I checked. It doesn't look like anyone passed through here.
Alright, we're in Springvale,
That's
the last
impossible.
reported location
It's not
of
like that kid can just grow some wings and
raptor.
fly away. Oh, the culprit, I mean. It's not like the culprit could have just disappeared into thin air.
Well, we looked all over, but the only clue we found was that bottle.
The most important thing we can do now is focus our efforts on treating Master. Can you help me move him inside?
Oh, his wind blinders shared off.
When I administered emergency treatment,
Like he overstressed
I discovered
it.
a residue in his nose and mouth. Master was most likely
Kind of
forced
like
to
when you
ingest a
overstress
certain
your
liquid.
aircraft.
He's still unconscious, and inducing vomiting could obstruct his airways. We'll have to look into other clues for now.
Oh, look like a tree branch. Elemental mark.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes. The scent is the same, but the chemical composition is still unclear. We'll have to do further tests to determine if it's the same liquid and how toxic it is to the human body. But first, I do believe there are two people who could shed some light on the situation. Mr. Sylvain, Mr. Lucien.
Wait, you know... Hey!
Were you talking to us, mademoiselle? I'm afraid we'd never heard of those names before.
Before arriving in Sumeru, I asked a friend from the Special Patrol to look into the creators of Auguste. There were 4 people in total.
I
The
hear some
perfumer,
rumbling going
Edgar,
on.
the one thrust
Vale.
into the limelight, and 3 others. A researcher from Sumeru responsible for cultivating the
Done.
Auguste flower, and 2 merchant brothers responsible for promoting the product on the market. The 2 brothers capitalized on the mythos surrounding Auguste. Their actions lured in numerous speculators and profiteers,
Oh,
inflating the price of
looks like
Auguste even further.
we got
In the end,
Helicurl up
they were
ahead.
sent to the Fortress of Meripede for falsifying their accounts and
Look at that.
destabilizing
We
the
got
market.
Helicurl up ahead.
If you do the math, they should
Wonder
be out
what's
of prison
going
by
on.
now.
And what does that have to do
Oh,
with
it's
us?
Raptor.
There are countless merchant families in Fontaine.
He's being
You
attacked
gonna
by
accuse them of being criminals too?
Fruit vendors being
Every
attacked
time
by
your brother called
Helicurl.
you Blaze, it took you several
Mm-hmm.
seconds to respond. But when I called you Lucien just now, the name registered immediately.
Ah, Miss Emilie, out of respect for your position as a famous perfumer in Fontaine, I'm inclined to believe that was simply a poor attempt at humor.
No, my
You have a
sword.
bright future ahead of you. You wouldn't want to develop a reputation as someone who throws around false
Oh, you're trying to
accusations,
intimidate me, Mr.
especially among
Helicurl.
merchant circles.
You claim to be regular perfume merchants,
With your
and yet,
wooden
when I brought up
sword?
amber wine, you took it to be alcohol.
What?
Glad I saved your life, Farah.
Amber wine is a perfume I created several years ago. It wasn't particularly renowned, but I'm certain any respectable perfume merchant in Fontaine would know of it. Unless, until recently,
Helicurl's
they were
always up to
living
no good
somewhere
except for
completely
one.
cut off from the perfume world.
Well, you'll learn something interesting about what Haley Trolls are
Emily,
the further you play into the game. Because if I reveal it now, I would be spoiling it for everybody who would be watching the stream. But the Haley Trolls have a significance.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to see it.
You will know before you go to Inazuma.
Okay.
So when you finish Liyue, you'll learn something about it.
Okay.
Don't misunderstand, Mr. Sylvain. I don't bring this up to criticize you. No matter what happened all those years ago, the court has already passed its judgment. But Master's life is in danger. We need to learn whatever we can about the person who has done this. If Master's attack had something to do with Auguste, I would imagine the two of you might also be in danger. So I'd like to trouble you for some information, if I may. Tell me about Kyria.
Fine, as you wish.
Sylvain!
Lucien, if this will help us find Kyria, then it will be all worth it. Besides, we've already told most of the stuff to the Maison orally anyway. You were right, Miss Emilie. There were 4 of us at the beginning. Myself, Lucien, Edgar,
sounds like rapid
and the
to me.
researcher from Sumeru in charge of flower cultivation, Vijama.
Something tells me you shouldn't get his pilot's license
Sometime
back.
down the road, the
I can't trust him to
Marechaussee
fly.
Phantom came knocking.
The Cessna.
Saddled
He's
us
gonna
with
be
a list of
flying like that.
accusations and started looking into our books. Oh, they did their meddling, and my brother Edgar and I were forced to serve time in the fortress as a result.
Sounds like he's still upset about that. Wait, then how did Edgar end up in Sumeru?
Master was convicted as an accomplice, so he only had to serve a few years. He decided to move to Sumeru so that he could put those events behind him. Still, Master was depressed for a long time after that. He stopped making new perfumes and focused on introducing students to the craft instead. That's how I met him. My parents had to relocate to Sumeru for work when I was a child, so I had the chance to study under him for a little while. But we can talk about that some other time. I want to hear more about this researcher, Vijava.
Cabbage.
Like us, Vijava was also staring down an investigation from the Marechaussee Phantom.
Oh, we got
But before the Phantom showed up at her door, she set all the flower beds on fire, along with much of the mora we managed to earn. All the Auguste flowers, everything we worked to create, was reduced to nothing but a pile of ash.
But destroying all that evidence, wouldn't that make things worse for her?
Oh, you have... this army
It
has
didn't matter at that point,
nothing
because
but...
she died in the fire as well.
Nothing but axes.
Sounds like you did an investigation of your own. Why even ask us if you knew all of this already?
The name wasn't mentioned in any of the files I reviewed either. But you two seem quite familiar with him.
Everybody got careless.
Kyria was Vijava's younger brother. He was just a clueless kid back then. Somewhere in his teens, I think. He helped his sister with her work sometimes, but that was pretty much it. He didn't have any idea what we were doing. Vijava kept him close most of the time. The 3 of us were probably the only ones who even knew she had a brother. After our operation was compromised, he disappeared. There were no signs of him until recently, when people started saying the Auguste flower had reappeared in Sumeru.
So, you think Kyria took something with him back then? Something that allowed him to reproduce the Auguste flower?
Vijava doted on the kid like you wouldn't believe. She even told us to give her cut to her brother if anything happened to her. If she left something behind before she died, believe me, Kyria's the one that has it.
And judging by the liquid in that bottle, the Auguste flower wasn't the only thing he reproduced. He managed to replicate the perfume itself.
So the liquid Edgar was forced to ingest really was Auguste. Wait, does that mean Auguste is poison?
Okay, here's hideout.
Poison? No. Of course not.
Edgar is
No
lurking
perfume
deep
is meant
inside.
to be ingested. Even small amounts can be dangerous, let alone ingesting a whole bottle at once. If Auguste could be considered a poison, we wouldn't have even sold half a bottle back then.
Raptor is still
Edgar
hiding
fell
in his hideout.
unconscious because Kyria forced him to drink perfume. It just happened to be a ghost. He probably thought we had something to do with his sister's death. But to tell you the truth, I have no idea why she did all that.
Let's go into Raptor's
We're not looking for Kyria because we have it out for him. We just wanted to see how he was doing. And, if possible, work together to bring back a ghost. We only went to prison for a bit of fraud and market manipulation. It had nothing to do with the product itself. As long as we keep things honest this time around, bringing the product back to market would almost be like honoring his sister's memory.
So that's why you never mentioned Kyria during your interrogation?
Yes, exactly.
We got Halo
We
Charles
were
up
just
ahead.
looking out for the kid.
Anyway, that's all we know. If you're looking for information on what's in a goose, or what to do if you ingest it, there are only two people to ask. Edgar or Kyria himself.
Well, at least we're able to say for certain that the substance Edgar ingested was in fact a goose. That gives us a direction for further testing. Well then, I'd say that was a very enlightening discussion.
Well, glad to hear it. Lucian, let's head back to the room and rest a bit. With everything that's happened, there are things that need reconsidering.
Yes, of course.
You think so too? That does seem to be the case. Pity we don't have more evidence. But based on Sylvain's tone of voice just now, I suspect further questioning will only result in more made-up answers.
The way you exposed them like that, just based on a hunch, that was genius! Oh, right! Earlier you said you were only sort of a doctor, and that your patients were unusual.
Oh yes, that's because most of the patients I encounter are already dead.
So you're a forensic doctor?
Close. I'm actually a forensic cleaner.
These folks
Once the
can't
forensic team
aim
and the
for
Marachese Phantom are done collecting evidence from the scene, I'm in charge of clearing away the final traces my patients leave on the world. In fact, with just a
aerial
small
assault.
alteration to the formula, the same tincture used as the base of perfume can also be made into a cleaning agent. Basically, there are two sides to forensics. Those who collect evidence to expose the truth, and those who clean up the smells, bloodstains, and other substances left behind at the scene. I've learned a lot in my line of work, and I've witnessed a lot of death. But this time, we may still
This
save the
last
patient.
Halo
Actually, Traveler, could I trouble you to report back to Tainari and the officers at Port Ormos? We should update them on the situation.
Oh, there's a Halo Trail that's just sitting up there, not doing anything.
Okay. Sounds
I'll
about
stay here and
normal.
continue to look after Master. Now that we have a sample of Auguste, I'm hoping further analysis won't be too difficult.
Oh, I accidentally let go. Oh, I missed it.
Whoa, why the rush? Did something happen?
What? Edgar was attacked? He's the most famous perfumer in the region. Someone who's helped countless people around Port Ormos. How could this happen?
Sheriff, have you received any reports of a suspicious individual fleeing through the bazaars?
Haha, you missed me.
No, but we've got eyes all over the area. I'm sure someone's seen Kyria. I'll start gathering my forces. We won't let him get away.
What about you, Tainari? Do you have a plan?
I'm sure the sheriff can handle things over at the scene, and I doubt Emilie needs my help looking after Mr. Edgar.
But she said she's not a real doctor.
Then she was far too modest. She may not be a doctor by trade, but she has a deeper understanding of human anatomy and pharmacology than most scholars from the Amorta Darshan. Not to mention the fact that Mr. Edgar's condition is related to perfume. Emilie is certainly in the best position to help him. As for me, I'll head to the academia and see what I can learn about Vijava and Kyria.
Oh, that's right! Vijava was supposed to be a scholar from Sumeru. Do you recognize the name?
From Emilie's letter, certainly, but that was the first time I'd heard of it. The academia produces a lot of scholars, and there are plenty of graduates who choose to pursue a career outside their darshan. I didn't have time to look into it earlier, but now it seems like Vijava's past could be critical to getting to the bottom of what happened to Mr. Edgar. I have friends in Sumeru City that can help me investigate. With any luck, we'll have news to share by tomorrow. I'll leave you and Emilie to watch over things here in Port Ormos.
You're not gonna be hitting me through there.
Wish it.
That's gonna hurt.
I'm trying to find Hannah right now.
Okay.
Because Hannah indirectly sent me somebody. So I'm trying to figure out where Hannah is. Hannah's not texting me back, so I'm a little...
Oh.
Well, it's been a day. Wonder if Tainari's discovered anything. But things weren't looking good with Emilie's master yesterday. We should check on things at the hotel first.
So how's it?
No longer
Oh,
in
it's
critical
going.
condition, thankfully.
Okay.
He's still very weak, but with a bit more rest, he should regain consciousness soon. My chemical analysis of a goose also went smoothly, although it certainly raised some questions. I was able to identify the components that give this substance its fragrance, but I also noticed an abnormal trace of elemental energy in the sample.
Elemental energy?
Hard to say. It was such a minute amount, proportionally speaking, like mixing a single drop of perfume into the ocean. I had to use one of the newest tests developed in recent years to even detect the traces present in the sample. Unless you were abnormally sensitive to elemental energy, I doubt it would have any effect, even if you use the product every day for 10 years. As for whether Master's condition was caused by the elemental energy present in the sample or some other component of the perfume, it's still too early to say.
Oh, that reminds Paimon. Did Tighnari come and find you? Maybe we could ask him to take a look.
I received a message from him last night, but I haven't heard anything since. The message said he was looking into some information at the Academia.
Oh, Paimon thought he might have stopped by to see you first.
Currently in a standoff with the Hillicurl.
Excuse me? Is Miss Emilie here? Oh, perfect! Familiar faces! Traveler, Paimon, you're here too!
College? Ah, of course. Tighnari's apprentice. He's mentioned you many times. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. And please, no need for formalities. Emilie is just fine.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you too, Miss, Emilie. Did Tighnari send you here, Colin? Yep. Master and the others went through decades worth of records last night, and still haven't had a chance to rest. I'm fast on my feet, so it only made sense for me to come and give you an update. Anyway, based on what they've reviewed so far, they believe there's no indication that a researcher by the name of Vijava ever passed through the Academia.
Oh.
Master considered that possibility as well, but the name wasn't the only dead end. Master tried to track down people with a similar research direction or background, but also couldn't find a match. How is that possible?
It's starting to seem very likely. If we want to figure out her true identity, I'm afraid another conversation with those two merchants might be our only...
Hey! Lucian!
It's Sylvain! Wait, you don't think Curio came back, do you?
That seems impossible. If someone came in or out of the hotel just now, we would have seen them. It's locked?
Lucian! Lucian! Come on! Wake up! Emilie! My brother.
Oh, I just knocked him off
He's
the
gonna
edge.
be okay, right? He's just unconscious. Like what happened to Edgar.
I'm sorry.
So what AR level are you at right now?
We were too late this time.
No,
I can't
no,
access it
that's
because I'm in the domain. I believe I'm at 9.
possible.
Okay. Once you hit, I believe it's 20, you unlock co-op mode, which means I can go to your world and help you explore, beat bosses. I just can't help you do story content.
It's
Okay.
not good for him to look at his brother's body like
But if you needed help killing a boss because you wanted to level up a character,
Leave it to me.
someone like me who's really high level can help you kill a character very quickly. Like, one hit kill. I would tell you to hit them first and then run away, and then I would do the rest. Because that's just how I help people. Because if you don't hit them, you don't get credit. So.
Okay.
Thank you both.
The more you go around looting treasure, the faster you level up. The more telepoint waypoints you unlock, you gain experience. Collecting the oculi, leveling up your general statues, you gain
Just focus
experience.
on getting some rest. Here, this way.
I'm not saying you have to rush to get up there, but once you hit level, unless they change the co-op mode rules, I believe it's still level 20 as co-op mode.
Poor guy. He's like a shell of his former self. He may have
Alright, so they
made some bad
dropped it to
decisions in
16.
life, but right now,
Oh, they dropped
Paimon
it to
can't help but
16?
feel sorry for him.
Yes, it used to be 20, now it's 16.
The death of a loved
That's
one
good
is
to hear.
equally painful.
Venture rank 16, so you're not that far off.
All the moments he shared with his brother, every hardship and triumph they endured together.
So when I go into co-op mode with you, you'll have two characters that you get to control, and I have two characters that I get to control. So usually when I go into co-op mode with other players, I bring a DPS and I bring a healer.
No longer speak.
So my healer will always heal you,
Most certainly can.
which is super
Traveler,
nice.
I've got things covered here at the scene. I'll leave you to contact the sheriff.
Oh, I guess Raptor's a little feisty.
Who would have thought? Yesterday's case is still up in the air, and now this
If
happens.
he's gonna be talking
Miss Emily,
smack about
I heard you're an
Amber.
experienced forensic doctor.
Everyone talks smack about Amber. I'm trying to appreciate Amber.
Oh, I'm not actually.
I said in my last commentary of my last video that
I did take a look.
every character serves a purpose in the game, has their own unique lore, and should be treated as an equal, not as
I'd have to do a more thorough
bad as everyone says certain characters are.
Then, would you mind helping us investigate? Before he left, Tainari said we could trust your
Well,
judgment if
Raptor, I'd
something
love
like
to
this
see
were
you
to
try
happen.
glide over to where we are.
Of course, I appreciate your trust. Many of
I'd
the
love to see
traces
you
left
try.
behind at the scene will fade with time, so the sooner we investigate, the better.
We'll help too. We don't know much about dead bodies, but you can leave the other clues to us.
Yeah, it'd be really nice once you hit that function, because then I can join you on your adventure.
Yes.
I'm pretty high up. My other friend is online. Congratulations, she got to 50. My friend Yami's online.
Oh, nice.
Yami's online. I have so many friends that play this game. The interesting part is, Kiri said that I'm one of her only friends left that play Genshin, because a lot of them stopped playing the game because of how, like, I guess, lack of skin tone differences. And I said, when people expect Genshin to have the variant skin tones, you gotta understand, it's against China's culture to advertise other ethnic groups in the game. It's not that they can't do it, it's just they get yelled at.
Yeah.
And the windows are shut
Now,
too.
if you take any character from Fontaine and you have them visually present in another nation, their skin tone is very different. Like, it's really dark if you take them to Fontaine. Or it's really dark if you take them to Inazuma. Like, some characters, yes. it's obvious, and other characters it's not. But people's like, why don't we have a black kid? Because China doesn't. China's probably one of the most racist nations out there. You go to Japan, you don't get bullied. You go to China, you get bullied. Because China's just like that. But it's not China's fault.
But
it's just how their economy works.
Next door without alerting Sylvain.
Yes, market socialism.
Wait, you don't think Sylvain could have been the one who?
It's what they call it.
No, his reaction to the loss of his brother seemed genuine, and he doesn't have a motive.
Then
so it's not like China's doing it on purpose.
I know Sylvain is still in shock,
like,
but he's our only available.
It's a Chinese game. If the game is made by Japan,
make a statement.
Japan,
also,
I wouldn't say enjoys
so we might as well head next door
interraces, but isn't opposed to it.
Raptor, you stay right there. I've locked the doors.
But because
so you can't escape.
China, not Japan, they have a lot more strict boundaries or rules when it comes to ethics.
But I think this is pushing it.
They want to advertise themselves above everything else.
Yes. Raptor, just so you know, the doors are locked, so you can't escape from us. While I talk with Rachel.
But like I said, it's nothing against... People don't like Genshin because they're not ethically raced enough. The darker skin tones in Genshin are probably the limit that China can do. It's not China's fault
Sylvain,
they can't do more.
I need you to tell me everything you and your brother did since yesterday afternoon. Did you see or hear anything strange?
After Kyria attacked Edgar, my brother and I were incredibly careful.
I also told Kiri that everyone who beats up Genshin and China and MiHoYo for the race thing has to let it go because the Chinese government could shut the whole game down. Do you want a game that's complete, or do you want a game that's controversially criticized because of the skin tones of its people?
Not a single noise.
If they break the rules, they could lose their funding. Loss of funding could cause the game to be restricted only in China and not the US. And it's not a bad game for solely built for a mobile phone. Genshin was built for the phone and the PC, not for a console. It works wonders on a console.
I did notice a few
but it wasn't built for that.
Lucian's pupils were dilated and his skin was flushed, very similar to Master's symptoms after the attack yesterday. There weren't any traces of liquid in his mouth or nose, so it's unlikely he was forced to ingest anything. The more plausible explanation is that he inhaled a substance without knowing it, and I'd say that substance was likely a goose.
A goose? No, that's not possible. Inhaling a goose would kill you. And anyway, it would have been for just one night.
Interestingly enough, when I was in the hospital,
that's not what
I
I
had
meant.
a therapist named Emilie.
Emilie, you ran your tests, didn't you? Go on. Tell everyone whether you found it.
Emmilie's a very... How the game spells Emilie is a very pretty way to spell it.
See?
Yeah,
a goose is harmless. The market
it's not uncommon, the spelling.
That may be true for most people, but not for everyone.
Master!
Blueberry is covering her head.
Thanks to Emily, I'm out of the woods for now. Sylvain, no matter how hard you may try to hide it, The truth will always come to light.
Edgar!
Even if we could keep it a secret for another 10 or 20 years,
Anyway,
do you think Kyria would
Raptor's
just
a
let
little
us
antsy,
be?
so I'm gonna
No,
glide over there while I still have
he
the
would
chance.
never give up.
While the door is still
Not if
locked.
he's doing all of this for
Okay.
Yelena. That's Vijava's real name. Yelena wasn't a scholar from Sumeru. She was an exiled Fatus from Snezhnaya.
A Fatus?
Fatui?
Fatui.
Why?
Curious.
Well,
Okay.
that
No,
means
someone was
how much
exiled from
information
the.
President Nagust was.
Ah, so you've already detected
Oh,
it.
wow.
Well, Sylvain, looks like there's truly no reason to hide things now.
Oh,
The August flower was created with the
August?
mutative and distorting power of a delusion.
A delusion?
The Fatui, delusions. I never would have thought Auguste was hiding this many secrets.
Born of a delusion, Auguste contained distorted elemental energy. A prolonged exposure over many years could have a harmful effect on the body.
that's enough, Edgar. I'll take it from here. At first, Yelena wanted to keep refining the perfume and the flower. But no one knew how long the perfume mania was going to last back then. It didn't have any effect on ordinary people anyway. Every day we postponed going to market was another day of lost earning potential.
So you decided poisoning people was worth the risk?
I like your reaction, Paimon.
It's not like it was good for business.
Yes.
But all that talk about Auguste being harmful over time, Yelena was just speculating. The impact was practically negligible. Unless you were particularly sensitive to elemental energy or had an entire bottle shoved down your throat like Edgar, you could use the product for decades and be completely fine.
It may be true there are no records of Auguste poisoning in Fontaine, but even if no one was acutely poisoned, willfully bringing a product to market despite explicit knowledge of its harmful effects is still a serious crime.
The fact that it originated from a delusion is still funny.
That explains why you were so intent on keeping Yelena and Kyria's involvement a secret all this time, despite readily confessing to all your financial crimes. The Fatui, delusions, Auguste. If the Maréchaussée Phantom discovered the connection between the three, there would have been enough evidence to send you to the Fortress of Maripede for life.
Ha! If I'd known coming to Sumeru would put a target on my back, I would have been more than happy to stay there. At least that way, Lucien would still be alive. All these years without any sign of Kyria, and he pops up out of nowhere the minute my brother and I get out of prison? It couldn't be any clearer who the kid's after. Auguste was harmless before. The fact that it's killing people all of a sudden must be his doing as well.
So there's bad blood between you.
What about Yelena's death? Was that a cover-up too? A way to destroy evidence?
I'll admit, we thought about it at one point. We took care to disguise the product circulating on the market, and no one was questioning Yelena's fake identity. But if the Maréchaussée Phantom decided to look into the flower beds, it would have been the end. Yelena's ties to the Fatui, the role of the delusion, everything would have been exposed. Before we could even put our plan in motion, Yelena beat us to it. She burned all her flower beds and threw herself into the fire as well.
But if her goal was to destroy evidence, there would have been no reason to do that to herself. Yeah, she could have just burned the flower beds and fled with her brother.
I thought about it for a long time.
Hey,
But it
Bruce.
wasn't until just now that I finally understood her reasoning. Everything she did, it was for her
You're still
brother,
popular on
Kyria.
What?
Facebook and YouTube, buddy.
One
Everybody
of the
loves you.
reasons they
You need to make
defected
more
from
videos.
Fatui was the
Who is?
deterioration of Yelena's body due to her
Bruce.
excessive use
Oh,
of a
Bruce.
delusion. She didn't want her brother to follow in her footsteps after her death. After arriving in Fontaine, Yelena continued using the delusion to cultivate the Auguste flower,
Now he
weakening her
scores in the
body
sitting.
even further.
Okay,
There were
why are you
times when she
aiming through your
couldn't
scope?
even walk.
So, she couldn't flee with her brother because she was afraid of holding him back.
If her true identity was exposed, she and her brother would face pressure from both Snezhnaya and Fontaine. The Auguste flower and Yelena's
Okay,
own corroded body
some
both
of his
bore the
henchmen were
mark of a delusion.
looking through the
There would have
scope
been no way
on
to
their
avoid suspicion.
crossbows. Like,
So,
that's not the way
in
to
the
do it when
end,
you're looking through
she burnt
a
it
scope up
all
close.
to ash,
Mm-hmm.
including herself. With all the evidence erased, Kyria was free to take the Mora and run.
So the wealth you earned from Auguste, it wasn't destroyed in the fire. Yelena gave it to her brother?
Most likely. Before Yelena died, she said if anything happened to her, she was going to leave everything to her brother. We just didn't realize she meant our cut as well.
Albeit me
That's
falling
why
down
Lucien
twice
and I were
was trying to
searching for
drive.
Kyria, to take back our Mora and the Auguste flower.
But the door was
We
still
just
closed,
didn't
so we
realize
wouldn't get
Kyria
out.
was baiting us the whole time. It was all a trap.
Well, he was
Why
pinned
is
in the
Kyria
corner.
out for revenge anyway? Doesn't he know about Yelena's decision to sacrifice herself?
I don't think he knew his sister was nearing death. Yelena always wore heavy makeup around him to conceal her deteriorating appearance. She kept herself busy with work to keep out of sight. That way her brother wouldn't notice how she could barely walk.
Then all we'll need to do is tell Kyria what really happened, and then he'll give up on his revenge. I'm not so sure. Even if he knew the truth, he'd still find someone to blame. He might think Yelena was forced into using a delusion to cultivate a Auguste, or something like that. It's hard to pull yourself out of that kind of hatred, especially when you've been living in that headspace for so many years.
Very true. Even if Yelena's death was her own choice, I wouldn't call myself innocent either.
Edgar, what are you talking about?
Think about it, Sylvain. If we hadn't been in such a hurry to capitalize on the perfume mania all those years ago, do you think Yelena would have elected to take those risks? If we hadn't been so blinded by greed, so insistent on increasing the scale of the flower cultivation, do you think Yelena's health would have deteriorated as fast as it did? If we hadn't invited the Marechaussee Phantom to our doorstep by breaking the law at every turn, Yelena could have survived.
She knew her limits. She knew her days were numbered. Maybe it was for her brother, but she was in it for the Mora just as much as us. We were just trying to earn a bit of Mora. And what, we deserve to die for that?
Let's head back to
Target me for being the mastermind.
Let's head
Sure.
back to the cathedral now.
What about Lucien? He was just following my orders. Lucien's crime. Was it really so extreme that he had to pay for it with his life?
The only person that can answer that question is a judge.
Fine. I've said my piece anyway. Drag me back to Fontaine to stand trial. I don't care.
3 people from Fontaine, 1 from Snezhnaya, and a crime committed in Port Ormos. What a headache. Well, we can only wait until the Academia sends someone to deal with it. I'm guessing we'll have to contact Fontaine as well. In any case, we won't really know anything until tomorrow. With the exhibition, we don't even have space in Port Ormos to detain anyone. Such a headache.
The hotel could suffice. You could station a few officers to keep an eye on Sylvain and myself. Although with Sylvain's mental state and my physical one,
Sorry about what happened
I don't think you need to worry about a jailbreak.
Mr. Edgar, are you saying...
If Sylvain is to stand trial, then I deserve the same fate. A crime is a crime, accomplice or not. I'd just like to take care of a few things before I go. Say goodbye to my plants and all that. As for Sylvain, I'm sure he also has some goodbyes of his own. Would you be willing to grant that request, Sheriff?
Well, all right. I'll talk to the Academia. No matter who you were in Fontaine or what crimes you committed, the man we grew to know in Sumeru proved himself to be a good person. Your request is granted.
You have my thanks, Sheriff.
Happen tonight? Oh, you mean the possibility that Kyria might try to finish what he started?
Yeah, all we know is that he uses a goose to poison people, but we still have no idea how to catch him in the act. If he targets Sylvain or Edgar again, we might not be able to stop him.
That may be true. But what if we can take advantage of his desperation? If we take advantage of this situation and lure him in on purpose, we might finally have the chance to talk to him.
Master, no. That's too dangerous.
So, that's your plan. If Kyria learns we're being taken away tomorrow, his last chance to enact his revenge would be tonight. In other words, you want to use us as bait to capture him.
Capture? Not necessarily. I just want to talk. What? Are you afraid of him?
Afraid? This is my only chance to make him pay for what he did. I'm spending the rest of my life in prison anyway. I can't just sit back and let him ride off into the sunset with our fortune. There's no way I'm letting him get away with it. Not after what he did to Lucian. As for the danger, everyone else just needs to make preparations in advance to protect us.
I'll admit, it could work. We just need to spread the word that Edgar and Sylvain are leaving tomorrow. Then I'll station some of my men around the hotel. If we have your assistance as well, our chance of success would be even higher.
Oh my god.
I still have some reservations. But if you insist on carrying out this plan, I won't deny you my help.
They're just too cute. Just lying and yawning sleeping on the floor. Too bad.
I'll also keep watch.
Although I think Sylvain and myself should remain alone in our respective rooms. If Kyria noticed another person in the room, he might decide to turn back. And besides, it's possible he's already transformed August into a potent toxic gas.
You mean if he doesn't see a way to get his hands on the two of you, he might get so desperate that he'll just start using a goose on everybody?
If that were to happen, everyone's standing guard. Even the innocent citizens in Port Ormos would all be in danger.
That's why everyone else needs to keep to the shadows.
You're still recovering. You need to rest.
This old pack of bones doesn't bounce back like it used to. I suppose I'll just have to leave the rest to you.
And there isn't a minute.
All right,
A
we can
minute
figure
to
out a
watch.
plan to keep watch later. Right now, I say we split up, start spreading that information before it's too late.
Have you heard? Mr. Edgar's been detained. He's being taken away tomorrow.
What? He's the one who helped craft all the fragrances for our shop.
He taught my child how to make perfume. How could this happen?
He hasn't been convicted yet. Let's just wait and see what the court has to say.
Oh, everyone on the street is talking about the rumors. No matter where Carrie is hiding, you must have heard them by now. Let's head back to the hotel and take a break. We can see how the other preparations are going while we're at it.
Gonna be heading over to the Adventurers Guild.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, Cyrus.
So I bought Ultimate Chicken Horse for the PS5 today for like $6.
Oh, nice.
Yep. For the PlayStation. I do have plans to fully unlock the game through its cheat code, because I would like my Switch copy to still be unlocked as it needs to happen. Yeah. But I'm gonna pretty much unlock the entire game for PlayStation 1. Just so that it's easier when it comes times to do online streaming.
Chef Xian wants to talk to you and the Traveler about our plans for the night watch.
Thank you, Kale. But first, here, I prepared a kind of herbal tea that helps calm the spirit. Why don't you have some?
Oh, that's very kind of you. But I'm okay.
Oh, it's not good to be so tense, especially when we've got a long night ahead of us. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I couldn't help but notice that something seems to be on your mind.
Was it that obvious?
You seem very preoccupied with Kiria's revenge. If there's anything you want to talk about, I'm happy to listen.
Oh, Hey, Emilie, Kale. Oh, are we interrupting something? No, not at all. This will be easier to talk through with you here anyway. I've just been thinking. If Kiria has the capacity to commit murder while remaining completely undetected, why didn't he target Sylvain along with Lucien last night? There was just a single door separating them. If his intention was to target both brothers, then there was barely anything standing in his way. Don't you think? When I accompanied Sylvain to his room after Lucien died and saw how distraught he was, I suddenly realized maybe Kiria did that on purpose. Maybe he wanted Sylvain to experience the pain of losing a loved one before he completed his ultimate revenge. So did he attack Edgar as a warning then? To scare Sylvain and Lucien?
Based on what we've heard about Kiria, that may very well be the case.
Losing his sister all those years ago. What has been going through his head? What has he been forced to endure? Whenever I get to thinking like that, I just can't help but wonder. If I were in his place, would I be able to let go of that hatred? I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't think like that. Not after everything he's done. But I just can't help it.
There's nothing wrong with the way you're feeling. Empathy is a part of human nature. In all my years of cleaning up crime scenes, I've witnessed countless families mourn their loved ones. Their cries of devastation and anger still echo through my mind, even now. Some of them
And I
even
have
try to
reached
stop me, begging me
AR9.
not to erase the last remnants of their loved ones. But getting swept up in those
Yay!
emotions brings
AR9.
your judgment.
Yay!
Surround yourself with fragrance for too long, and your sense of smell will become dull. Allow yourself to be consumed by
And
your
I surprisingly
emotions,
was able to
and
pass
you lose the
the gliding
ability
exam
to
even
think
with some
rationally.
stick drift and me
So while
falling
you hold on
twice.
to that sense of empathy, you also need to ask yourself, do Sylvain and Lucien really deserve to die? How much did they truly know about the Fatui and the delusion? Did they force Yelena to make those decisions? Answering those questions requires a lot of time and evidence, while a single act of vengeance can put those answers forever out of our reach. I've witnessed a lot of deaths in Fontaine. When someone dies, a certain amount of information can be inferred from the traces left behind at the scene. But generally speaking, death will just leave most questions unanswered, and the whole picture ever incomplete.
Once you're consumed by hatred, it will become next to impossible to think about things that way. For someone like Kyria, I'm sure right and wrong lost all meaning a long time ago.
You're right. The fact that we can approach these questions from this perspective isn't because we're more rational than them. It's because we're fortunate enough not to have suffered that kind of loss. But that also makes us perfectly positioned to stand on the outside and try to pull them back from the brink before it's too late. I understand Kyria's decision, but I still want to stop him. Master, Sylvain, and Kyria. They all deserve to survive.
Huh. The fortunate and the unfortunate.
Emilie, Traveler. Huh? Edgar. You're here too?
Oh, it's you two! Didn't you head back to your room to rest, Edgar? Is it really okay for you to be out and about like this?
A little exercise never hurt anyone. Besides, I don't have much time left in Sumeru. So I'd like to take care of my plants while I still can.
We could do that for you, Master.
No need. I've grown attached to these flowers, and this is my last chance to say goodbye. Come tomorrow. I'll be happy to entrust their care to you. I would imagine Sheriff Sham is here for a more important reason.
The Night Watch! You mentioned earlier that we still need to confirm our plans.
That's right. I've stationed some of my men around the surrounding area, but we still don't have anyone standing guard next to Sylvain's room. Exactly. After some discussion, we concluded that Sylvain has the highest risk of being attacked next. You're the most skilled fighter here, Traveler. And Emilie's expertise is sure to come in handy in a pinch. That's why I want you two stationed next to Sylvain's room. So, are you up for it?
Sounds perfectly reasonable. I'll be glad to have your help tonight, Traveler.
Anyway, we're going over to Whispering Woods
Sounds good.
to find this,
Huh. Not a peep.
Probably looking for Razor.
Has Kirya given up on his revenge?
You're doing a world quest, you're probably going to look at Razor. Or go find Razor.
Guess we'll have to keep at it. Still nothing unusual. Paimon took a peek into the room next door and Sylvain's already sleeping.
the treasured sword.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps Kirya's true motive was simply forcing Sylvain to confess his crimes. No, that can't be right. If all he wanted was for Sylvain to be convicted for his true crimes, he could have tipped off the Maréchaussée Phantom years ago. There must be something we're missing. Something extremely important.
Maybe we just need to calm down a little. How about some tea? That herbal blend from earlier was pretty tasty. You're right. Maybe we can look for a different distraction then, like looking at the
I
flowers.
can meet an informant.
Oh, there's a glaze lily here. Paimon didn't notice it earlier.
Flowers, glaze lilies, incense. Oh no! Sylvain's room! Quick!
Wait, what?
Hey, did you hear? Someone was attacked again last night.
It was the older of the merchant brothers, right?
Yeah, I think his name was Sylvain. Poor guy was murdered in cold blood.
First it was Mr. Edgar, then that merchant named Lucian, and now this.
Listen up, everyone. This is an active crime scene. Please, no loitering.
It's been 3 days and they
Vile
haven't even
was
caught a
surrounded
glimpse
by a
of the
bunch of
guy.
healer girls, and I
What is
just
going on?
demolished them.
Do you think it could be the work of an evil spirit? I mean, how do you get away with something like that with so many people watching?
Of course.
Keep it moving, everyone. No
I'm
loitering.
going through a lot, and I'm dealing with a lot in Genshin, in Taibat.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I'm next.
You don't know that. Kirya already attacked you once, and you survived. Perhaps he doesn't consider your crime to be worthy of death.
You were the only reason I managed to survive, Emilie. I never did thank you for that, did I?
Even if I wasn't there, Tainari was also in the vicinity. He would have been able to help.
Is that so? I suppose I'm a very fortunate person then. I have exceptional students, caring friends, and the respect of my peers. If it is indeed my time to go, then I'll die without regrets. But Kirya has nothing. Yelena is gone. Now his enemies are too. It really makes you wonder if there's even a reason to keep on living.
If you really want an answer, I suppose you'll have to ask Kirya himself, once we finally catch him.
Well, I hope it all goes well. Emilie, there's something else I'd like to ask of you. With everything that's happened, holding the exhibition is off the table now. But so many flowers were transported here for the show. Some of them thousands of miles away from their homeland. I can't let them wither away with no one to care for them. Whether Kyria gets to me first, or I'm sent back to Fontaine to stand trial, I won't be around to look after them. I know it's a lot to ask, but could I entrust them
giants
to
reside
your
in the
care?
city of the lake.
Of
Two
course,
guard the
Master.
statue, one the treasure.
Really? Oh,
Sounds about right.
I'm glad to hear it. Now I truly have nothing to worry about.
Sheriff Sham still has some questions for me, so I've gotta go.
Go ahead. Best not to keep him waiting. He can be quite impatient.
I'm sorry, Master.
Another all-nighter. Paimon sure hopes Emily's plan will go
What was
well.
that?
Oh, but Kali still looks quite worried.
Paimon was yawning.
Spectacular.
Okay.
Go talk to Kale. Okay.
Emily still isn't back. I hope she didn't run into any trouble. Yeah, that's true.
Traveler, I had my men start spreading the information you requested. The crowd is gone now too, but I have to admit, I'm not really sure what's going on. After listening to Emily's plan, I started getting the materials together and arranging personnel. I barely had a second to spare last night. To be honest, I'm still not sure how the crime was committed that night.
The key clue was right in front of us the entire time! Let's go! We'll show you where the culprit hid a goose! Wasn't this incense originally in Lucien's room? It must have been moved here before nightfall yesterday. This is it!
The glazed lily, huh? I think I've heard of it before. It's a flower from Liu, right?
Liu.
Well, did you know? It only blooms at night.
Emily, you're back!
Looks like
Exactly
I'm gonna
as
have to
expected.
glide across to get to the
A flower that only blooms
top
at
of the
night.
windmill.
Ah, like the Neolith lotus.
Exactly. Although the Neolith lotus wouldn't be a good substitute in this scenario. When it's closed, the gaps between the petals are too large. That's why Kyria chose the glaze lily as his mechanism. He would start by preparing an agouti sample.
There's a sticky substance on the edge of the flower petals. It's one I recognize. If you stick the petals together with slime condensate, then in the daytime, the glazed lily would act almost like a hidden container.
That's right! He applied a diluted form of slime condensate to the petals to stick them together and enclosed a sample of agouste in the center. That way, the agouste would remain trapped inside during the daytime, unable to seep between the petals and evaporate into the air. This also allowed the culprit to plant the poison well in advance, while his targets remained oblivious. However, the diluted slime condensate wouldn't be viscous enough to prevent the petals of the
Looking for
glaze
a
lily
missing
from
young
opening
female.
at night.
Has blonde
So
hair.
by
Wears
nightfall,
exotic clothes.
the flower
Any
would
information
bloom,
less than
thereby
suspicious
forcing the target to inhale the
Please
agouste
report
trapped
to Outrider
inside.
Amber with any information
Imperia
you
can
have.
execute his revenge without having to step foot inside the room during the night.
That was a
By
missing
the next
persons
morning,
poster.
the sample of agouste would have
Yeah.
nearly fully evaporated. The glaze lily would have already closed its petals, and any lingering odor would be concealed by the fragrance of the other flowers in the room.
Wait a second. You're telling me this version of a goose is so toxic, inhaling the minute amount trapped inside a flower is enough to kill a grown man? And how did Edgar even survive ingesting a whole bottle of the stuff?
That's because agouste is just as dangerous now as it was all those years ago. The level of toxicity has never changed. Only a small subset of people are truly at risk.
Ah, you mean people who are sensitive to elemental energy.
You never
So
had
it's
any
just
to
some
begin
sort
with,
of
Paimon.
happy coincidence that Sylvain and Lucien are allergic to the stuff? That can't be right. They were involved in the operation all those years ago. If the stuff gave them a bad reaction, they would have known from the very start.
I wouldn't use the word allergic necessarily. It's more like they're susceptible to its effects. But that distinction isn't important right now. You can think of it this way. It's not that Sylvain and Lucien are innately sensitive to elemental energy, but that Kyria found a way to ensure that they would be.
In Fontaine, I experienced how drinking primordial seawater made me more attuned with the element of hydro. But that substance would be hard to get around here. All kinds of essential oils commonly found in alchemical products can temporarily increase elemental affinity. But it would be difficult to force someone to use them without knowing it. The incense I smelled earlier seemed familiar. Thinking back on it, I'm almost certain it was the scent of spirit borneal. In Sumeru, scholars use spirit borneal to aid meditation and stimulate their connection to the Dendro Archon.
Alchemically produced essential oils, the primordial seawater that caused unrest in Fontaine not too long ago. All of those are substances that can heighten your sensitivity to elemental energy.
That stuff gave us a lot of trouble when we first came to Sumeru. Yes, I definitely remember that.
In Sumeru, it's not uncommon to use incense indoors, so its presence wouldn't arouse suspicion. The flowers in the room could also serve to mask the scent.
Flowers are pretty important to this plant, huh? The glazed lily is native to Liyue. It would be completely unnatural to have one here in Sumeru if it weren't for the exhibition. What a coincidence.
Actually, it's not a coincidence at all.
No wonder he was willing to pay a small fortune to rent out the hotel. He probably used the Mora Yelena left him, don't you think? That money was supposed to set him free. But in the end, it was just a tool for his revenge.
There's a saying among forensic doctors in Fontaine. Every step you take leaves a mark. But up until this point, we haven't been able to detect any trace of Kyria's activities. That's not because he was coming and going undetected, or because he's some kind of evil spirit. but because he's been disguised as someone else this entire time. Creating such an intricate mechanism out of a glaze lily, setting up the spirit Borneal in advance, and arranging for Sylvain and Lucien to stay at the hotel. It all points to one person, the expert in charge of the entire exhibition.
Going to Springvale.
The Morris went to rent out the hotel, the way the Auguste flower was cultivated, the method used to disguise his appearance. It all points to one person. The boy who inherited Yelena's legacy, her younger brother. Kyria and Edgar are one and the same. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right.
But Kiryu was only in his teens back then. He wouldn't even be 40 years old by now. Edgar's lived here for so many years. Even if he changed his appearance, going that long without giving anything away, it would be impossible.
Bad news, Sheriff. Mr. Edgar was attacked.
What?
A dark shadow-like figure just ran out of his room. It was giving off a really ominous aura. But before we could even react, the figure up and disappeared like some sort of ghost or something. By the time we got a look inside the room, Mr. Edgar was gone. Do you think Kyria kidnapped him?
I need you to think very carefully about this. Are you certain that figure wasn't Edgar himself?
I mean, Mr. Edgar was so frail. I don't see how he could have moved that fast.
It would seem Master decided to tap into an ill-advised source of power.
What? But that's so dangerous with the condition he's in. It's...
But why? Why would he do that? He's already accomplished his revenge.
No. His aim was to target everyone who had a hand in Yelena's death.
If he left Sylvain alive yesterday, not out of a desire to see him suffer, but to confirm the truth about why Yelena chose to die,
then there's still one target left.
The shadow-like figure ran in the direction of the elevator, and my partner immediately chased after them.
We should hurry before they're forced to confront each other.
Where in the world did he go? Let's ask the merchants nearby.
A shadow-like figure with an ominous aura. Sorry, I didn't see anything. I was busy taking inventory.
Not your fault, man.
Body in mind.
A ghost! It's a ghost!
It's all right. Please, calm down and take a deep breath. Can you tell us what you saw?
I saw a black shadow. It ran right past me. How could something like that happen in broad daylight?
Okay, he's just gonna be stuck down there.
This is terrifying.
No! Don't come any closer!
It's all right. I can detect a faint whiff of the scent from here. I would say he passed by this location not too long ago. It's this way. Please, follow me. Time to act.
Been a while since I've been somewhere.
The scent is getting stronger. This must be the place.
Another domain. Pretty cool. Oh, I'll bring
my seasonings.
my original crowd.
So what are you doing now?
Finishing up the story quest.
Okay.
Are you all right?
I'm in the
Were you attacked?
domain at the end of it, where you get to test out Emily.
I'm all right. I was just chasing after that figure, and then all of a sudden, I didn't feel so hot.
Let me take a look.
The air definitely feels heavy. It smells nice, but for some reason, it's hard to breathe. This feeling, I've encountered it before.
Everything looks all right. It was probably just the stress of the chase, combined with the impact of the environment. A bit of rest would do you some good.
I can't rest. Mr. Edgar is still in there. He taught my sister how to make perfume. He's a good man. I can't just abandon him to die by
We got
Curia's hand.
sightseeing
Oh,
hilly
you need
trails
to
up
calm
there.
down and listen to me. Edgar is the one we're after. He and Curia are the same person. But how is that possible? I thought you said Curia was in his 30s. Mr. Edgar is 70-something. Changing your appearance to look decades older, that doesn't seem possible.
That's precisely why he had to resort to extraordinary measures to age himself. Curia used a delusion to bring back the Auguste flower, corroding his body in the process, just like his older sister.
No. He couldn't have. Mr. Edgar has been in Port Ormos for years. If someone started impersonating him all of a sudden, we would have noticed.
And what if the impersonation started before he ever set foot in Sumeru? I've yet to confirm it, but I suspect Curia killed the real Edgar in Fontaine not long after his release from prison. While Edgar was incarcerated, Curia started making preparations to replace him, including forcefully aging his body, studying perfumery, and planning the real Edgar's demise. The new Edgar then decided to relocate to Sumeru, seemingly out of an innocuous desire to let go of the past. He even left perfume making in favor of mentoring students. But these decisions were all for a specific purpose, the need to distance himself from anyone who might see through the facade. And Sumeru fit the bill to a T, with no one around to question his identity. All he had to do was grow a beard, don a pair of glasses, make a few minor alterations to his appearance, and everyone would believe he was exactly who he claimed, Edgar, a perfumer from Fontaine. As the years went by, he removed his disguise little by little and continued to refine his skills. It would have been a gradual process, one that ensured no one around him would notice anything unusual.
That explains why Sylvain said he barely recognized Edgar back at the hotel. He aged himself decades beyond his years just so he could accomplish his revenge. Is that even worth it?
No, Paimon, it is not worth it to age yourself.
I need to find Mr. Edgar. He's not that kind of person. He can't be.
What you really need is to get out of here and rest.
No, I can keep going.
Wait! This environment is likely being influenced by the delusion. Any discomfort, no matter how slight, should not be treated lightly. I know how to relieve your symptoms, Mr. Ooze. Please come with me and rest. I'm sure No, Edgar wouldn't want any more innocent people implicated in all this.
Call is right.
It solves
The
all the
Traveler and I will take
mysteries.
things from here. From our brief exposure to a goose, it would seem the substance has little effect on us. This leads me to believe those blessed with a vision
Yeah, it
or
really was
capable
drawn
of
by
wielding
a
elemental power are more resistant to the effects of abnormal
Mm-hmm.
elemental energy. In other words, this environment doesn't pose as much of a risk to us. Actually, now that I think about it, this stronghold likely has multiple points of entry. If the target were to escape from a different point of entry, that might allow him to evade capture. I hate to trouble you, but we need people to survey the perimeter.
Thanks. Hear that? We're heading out. There's work to be done. Ooze, head back to Port Ormos and start gathering reinforcements.
Got it.
Traveler, Emilie, Paimon, please be careful. For someone whose only purpose in life is revenge, there's no telling what they'll do when there's no reason to move forward.
Don't worry. This isn't the end. Not for us or for Kyria. We're not going to let a goose kill anyone else. It's time for the mythos to fade into obscurity.
Great, we get to kill monsters.
Monsters? Perhaps they were attracted here by the increased level of elemental energy.
Nice and spicy! Hey! Grow, grow, grow!
I've never seen these seeds before. They must also have been created with the power of a delusion. It seems to be avoiding us, and there's no other way forward. Perhaps we could try luring it to the edge of the cliff.
Good word of advice. Treasure! Keep us going. Teleport.
Whoa, look at all the goose flowers!
I guess this is what the
There's so
goose
many of them. I can't believe a single person did all this. Must have taken a lot of time.
I fear that statement is truer than you know, Paimon. Using a delusion comes at a cost. Not just time, but the time you have left to live.
Yep.
Why would Kyria need this many goose flowers? He only needed a few bottles of a goose to carry out his plan, right?
Perhaps hatred wasn't the only emotion fueling his obsession with a goose. Not long ago, he told me he didn't want all the flowers transported to Sumeru to wither away in a foreign land. But Kyria betrayed Snezhnaya, abandoned Fontaine, and lived his entire life in Sumeru under the guise of someone else. For someone with nowhere to call home, perhaps dying among a bed of goose flowers just like his sister is the best homecoming he could ask for.
some refreshing mint.
Incoming! Hey! Gooba, get them! Grow, grow, grow! A little ambiance. You're toast! Don't blink!
A plant that destroys seeds. Huh. Quite the ecological marvel. Let's head back to the place where the seeds first appeared.
A light that destroys seeds. Okay, don't bring it into the light. Heat, I can handle this better. More treasure.
Nice. I'm finding
The
treasures
scent of
myself.
flowers is getting stronger. We're almost at the end.
I subscribed to your channel yesterday.
Thank you.
Just so I could theoretically tag you in my video. Because I needed to do that. Subscribe to tag you in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I recently hit 500.
Or no, I saw I was 502.
Catch up that fast.
You were at 501 before I subscribed.
Just waiting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But it doesn't matter. This is far enough.
I'm at Deadwood Gorge.
This is a garden of Auguste flowers. But it's not mine. It's the one that was set on fire all those years ago in Fontaine. Yelena? Yelena! You tried to hide it from me, but I always understood. The reason why you continued to use the delusion, the reason why you set your garden on fire, it was all because of me. I shouldn't have listened to you that day. I shouldn't have taken the moor and ran. But by the time I realized something wasn't right, there was nothing left. The flowers were gone. And so were you. I know I'm almost 20 years too late. I should have come looking for you earlier. I should have died with you that day. Yelena? Yelena! No! Don't leave me! Please! Yelena!
Emily?
I'm alive. No, that's not possible. I saw her. Elena. We were together.
That was an illusion, likely brought about by the residual toxin in your body coupled with the pollen in the air, neither of which are fatal.
No. The amount of Auguste I drank, it should have been enough. A fake? But how?
We started making the preparations last night with one goal in mind: to create a perfect accord. The accord is the basis of perfume making, the product in its most primitive form.
Ambergris mixed with cedarwood, rounded out with a base note of agarwood.
This is the scent of leather?
Exactly. We're unable to extract essential oils from leather, but by combining other raw materials, we can recreate its essence. That is the purpose of an accord.
Does that mean you can recreate any scent in the whole world?
I'm afraid not. Certain fragrances in this world are simply one of a kind. That quality is what draws people in and fuels their obsessions.
If I wear a goose to the ball, I'll also be one of a kind. Our competitor already got their hands on it. Perfume all the way.
It doesn't matter how much it costs. I have to buy something better.
This fragrance will be one of a kind, no more. Myths can be deconstructed, miracles can be recreated. All it takes is skill, experience, limitless exploration, and a little patience. The only thing left is determining where the real Auguste is hidden. Pretending to be attacked means he's not free to move around. Auguste must be hidden within reach.
Paimon took a peek through the window earlier and his house was packed with flowers.
The curator commissioned a flower pot from Kasharawar, capable of retaining heat and
You're still
moisture.
streaming.
Perfumes are as beautiful
Almost
as
done.
flowers, and equally
We're at the tail
as
end of
delicate.
the content,
When
so we should be
stored,
done
you must take care
shortly.
to control the temperature and keep them away from direct sunlight. Did you get all that, Emily?
I got it.
Did you hear? Someone was attacked again last night.
So, Sylvain is dead. Is that right?
Yes, Master.
So, you switched the bottles of Auguste, and then lied to me about Sylvain's death.
Convincing you that your revenge had been completed was the easiest way to get you to let down your guard.
Impossible. Even if you found a way to switch out the bottles, there's no way you could have made an accord. If Auguste was so easy to replicate, Yelena wouldn't have.
It was a combination of rainbow roses, glaze lilies, and Cecilias. Those ingredients would have conflicted with each other if you tried to combine them in the past. But recently, we found a way for them to work together.
Rainbow roses, glaze lilies, and Cecilias.
Auguste was created over 10 years ago. All this time, people never stopped analyzing it, never stopped trying to recreate it. Perfumery techniques are advancing day by day. We found better ways to extract essential oils, separate oils and fats. We even discovered new ways to combine fragrances together. The mythos surrounding Auguste may have been untouchable almost 20 years ago, but now it's time for it to become a thing of the past.
The past.
You've been working as a perfumer for all these years. You should have always known that it is possible to make an accord, even if only in theory. But the meaning you assigned to a ghost became so inflated, you allowed yourself to get lost in it, just like the perfume mania that captivated the public all those years ago. You believed in its divinity and grandeur. You believed it was entirely one of a kind. Your obsession with the goose is also what allowed us to predict how you intended your plan to end, and to make preparations in advance.
We just didn't expect it to happen so fast.
Well, you hit the nail on the head now, didn't you? So, Sylvain isn't dead. Since you've been preparing your cord since last night, I assume you've also figured out my method, then. That means the news of Sylvain's death. The crowd gathered outside the hotel this morning. It was all an act you put on with the sheriff?
Yes. If we hadn't, you might have resorted to the delusion out of desperation, or continued to use your spirit borneal and a goose combination to wreak havoc.
Who knows? Maybe I would have just offed myself then and there.
I know if you had things your way, you would carry the truth of Edgar's demise and the secrets of this garden to the grave, but I'm sorry, Master. I don't want to see any more death. Sylvain only inhaled a small amount of poison. He's being detained as we speak. All the crimes he concealed back then will be exposed in a court of law for everyone to see, and all his secrets will be revealed. The same goes for you as well.
Is that so? Well, I suppose I'll be spending the rest of my days in a prison cell then.
Whoa, he accepted that kind of fast.
I don't feel the need to justify my actions, nor do I intend to repent for them. I did what I set out to do. I may have lost in the end, but it was my choice every step of the way. And if I could do it all over again... But there's no going back, is there?
Careful, everyone. This environment is dangerous. I'll lead the way.
I saved Izzard's life now.
Can't let Edgar die.
Okay.
Looks like I'm almost out of time. Although, I do have one final question, Emilie.
Of course, Master.
The combination you used to make your accord. How did you figure it out?
The scent of a goose is complex and varied, yet the main ingredient consists of a single variety of flower. So, as I was analyzing the sample yesterday, I got to thinking, what if the scent of the auguste flower was already imbued with that complexity during its cultivation?
You're saying Yelena designed Auguste to have the scent of multiple flowers?
Rainbow roses, glazed lilies, Cecilias. The perfumers of the past knew that if you combined their essential oils directly, they would just cancel each other out. It was a conundrum they could never solve. But if you cultivate a new flower species that intrinsically carries the unique features of those three scents, you can bypass that issue entirely. It goes without saying that for that time, this idea was a stroke of genius.
Rainbow roses, glazed lilies, and Cecilias. Those really do seem like flowers you would choose, Yelena.
Yes. I'm at the tail end of Emilie's story.
Nice.
Yep. Murder House. You already did his story first. Now we're back to the hotel. We're back in Fontaine. You can tell from the decor that we're in Fontaine.
Did you know? Miss Emily's releasing a new perfume. Right. I heard about that. I think it's called Yelena.
Oh, a paying tribute.
Seems like everyone in Fontaine is talking about the new perfume you're releasing.
I was hoping to release it without such a fuss, but the news spread way faster than I expected. I just hope it won't become the source of some new myth, especially after all the work we did to demystify a ghost. I did, although I made a few modifications to the formula to make the scent more pleasant and long-lasting. I actually brought a few samples with me today. I hope they're to your liking. Also, I was hoping you could try out the fragrance before I officially release it and tell me your thoughts.
Of course! A good sense of taste and sense of smell go hand in hand, you know? Just leave it to Paimon!
Don't drink it, Paimon.
Oh, it smells great!
It's all right. All feedback is worth considering.
You know, Paimon's very, well, we all know
Besides,
that Paimon
when it
loves
comes to
food.
perfume, commenting on whether it smells good is the most straightforward assessment you can ask for. There doesn't always have to be a deeper meaning.
Right! Do those flowers have some special meaning? Hearing their names seemed to have an effect on him.
Anyway, that has been an eventful stream on my end.
If I had
That's
to
gonna be it for
guess,
me tonight.
I'd say it
Please
probably
be sure
has
to like,
something to do
comment,
with the
and
language of
subscribe for
flowers.
future content here in advance
Language
too.
of flowers?
I've done this in
Oh,
collaboration
we've
with
heard of that before!
Adelaide
Paimon
92,
remembers hearing something like, the
while she is
Cecilia
working on
represents
storyline
the
quests
true feelings
for
of the
Emily.
prodigal son?
What each flower is said to represent
So,
varies
as
by
she
person
is,
and
as she is
hits different moments in
fertilizing.
history.
Can't
The
wait to
same
get
is
to
true for the flowers that
AR-16
make
so
up the
we
scent
get
of a
to play
goose. After returning to Fontaine, I did some research, and it turns
Please
out
be
the
sure to
meanings
like,
of
comment,
those
and
three
subscribe to
flowers
future
can
content
be
here in advance
reassembled to
too.
form a
This
single
is
phrase.
BSMI16904, and I hope you have
Forget
yourself
the
a great night.
past and keep on living. Perhaps that's the legacy Yelena always intended, not the nobility and grandeur most
You
people
have
associate with the goose.
better way of doing this than I do. That's okay.
Do you think Kiria knew about
Okay,
that?
I'm learning how live stream works. Getting rid of the bells and whistles. Working out the bells and whistles.
But he didn't seem
Yep.
to care. Who knows? Maybe she didn't mean anything by it at all. That was his response.
And I had your screen going
Yelena
on the
is
side of
gone.
my screen the
We'll
whole
never know
time.
what she was thinking.
Oh, that's
We
cool.
can look for meaning all we want, but it'll never be anything but conjecture. Even if that is what she was trying to say, I would never be able to forget her. Avenging her death? That was the meaning I chose for my life. Kiria cultivated his revenge like a flower. He was committed to making it bloom, even if in the end, it didn't bear the fruit he was hoping for. In any case, he did want me to pass along his thanks. Thank you for saving my life, for giving me the chance to learn that a goose could have carried a very different meaning. Love and hatred are a privilege of the living. When someone dies, their thoughts, feelings, and intentions die with them. In that sense, what a goose truly represents in the language of flowers will forever remain a mystery. But even if it's only a conjecture, I would like to believe my own interpretation. The meaning we give to flowers, the symbolism we assign to our perfumes, they're constantly twisted and exploited in our imperfect world. And yet, at the very outset, they're born from the simplest and most beautiful desires we hold in our heart.
The end.
Nice.
We get a copy of the new perfume. Super cool. Pretty cool. It's a gadget. Tilt the bottle towards the sunlight, and you will see its flowing line of graceful text. Forget the past and keep on living. Nice. Got a really cool gadget. I want it to be midnight already so I can get a new gadget that they're giving out for the anniversary. In case anyone has not yet heard what I said earlier, the new gadget for the anniversary gift from MiHoYo is a baby dragon. Last year we got a jellyfish in a bubble. The year before that we got a paper mache origami of Cloud Retainer. And they didn't do anything special for the first year anniversary in terms of a gadget companion. But year 2 is Cloud Retainer. Year 3 was Baby Octopus. Now we are going to get a baby dragon. Not to be totally unfair, but you kind of skipped Sumeru in terms of gadgets because Cloud Retainer is from Liwa and the baby octopus is from Fontaine. So where is our Sumeru gadget? Because the new one's going to be from Natlan. So just want to throw that out there. Hoyoverse, you kind of forgot.
Yes.
Forgot a gadget, unless you're considering the genie, also known as Lurapar, which is provided to you in story in Sumeru as the Sumeru gadget, or you're including Surush as the Sumeru gadget, because both of those are locked behind very long, lengthy world quests, which you get both because they both have powers and they both have abilities. But our other little guys are just really cool, and they fly around like pets. Oh, and the octopus, in case anyone didn't understand, if your octopus is underwater, attached, like actively, your active gadget, and is underwater, it floats freely. If your octopus is above ground, not in the water, it lives in a bubble. So, you want to explore your little gadget? Do so underwater. You will have so much more fun. I love our instrument collection. We have a lyre, the equivalent of a guitar, a set of drums, and what looks like a trumpet. So, I guess we're going to end up with a... Can't wait until a music event comes back. We'll end up with a fifth gadget. In addition to our little octopi last year, they also gave us a bubble gun from the Fontaine Research Institution. So that was definitely fun to play with. You get to blow bubbles. Well, it makes sense because Fontaine is water. Makes total sense. Well, like all of my 3 4-legged fluff fur balls are all taken in now. Okay, so I said in my last video that I am going to show you what I named my little guy, my little... Everyone, a lot of people were asking online what I named my Sansarian. We're going to go to the temple so you can see what I've named him. Like I said, I have friends that named him Hash Brown. I have friends that named him Dino, or Dino with a D-Y-N-O. I also had a handful of friends that named him after Pokemon. The best part is, I named him after a Pokemon, a legendary, and I also told you guys in my last video that he was named after one of the best games ever in the game of Pokemon. So, we're going to enter his sanctuary. You are going to see what he has named, and I'm hoping I get a good thumbs up, considering the fact I went into great lengths to naming him some of the best names in the game. Here he is.
Groudon.
Groudon.
That kind of looks like, that weird ground fire type.
Yep.
Or Alakazam.
Everyone gets one of him in Natlan. It is a part of your Natlan journey. You are a part of a world quest where you get to save his life, essentially. I'm not going to go into full details on the story because that's all for you to do, but you guys get one. You get to name it whatever you want. If you name him Paimon, it won't let you name him Paimon. Other rules, you can't name him after any existing dragon in the world of Tevet. So you can't name him Nuvilet, you can't name him Morax, you can't name him Cloud Retainer, you can't name him a Pep or any of the known dragons that are in Tevet. You can't name him after any known playable character. Now you can name him Wanderer, since Wanderer as a character name, you can name any identity. You can't name him after the Fatui. You cannot name him after anyone of importance. There are a couple people who named him after NPCs. You do have a character limit. I believe the limit is 8 or 12. But considering someone was able to spell hash brown just fine, I do want to say the limit might be 10 or 12.
And you also can't name him Storm Terror either, I think.
Well, you can't name him after any known dragons. You can't do Dvalin. You can't do Durin. Dvalin and Durin are both from Mondstadt. You can't name him a Pep, which is the dragon in Sumeru. You can't name him after Nuvilet, which is the Hydro Dragon of Fontaine. It's not a spoiler because he's a playable character. You can't name him Morax after the Adepti. You can't name him any of the Adepti. Cloud Retainer, Guijan. Any known person that has a tragic death in the game, you can't name him after anyone who's died. So, I looked at Pokemon, and I looked through a bunch of different Pokemon. My best friend named him Charizard, which, no offense, he doesn't exactly breathe fire, but he does have a fire marking on his head. I do have a couple of friends that named him Egg Yolk. Can't tell you why, but my friends are weird. And in the game, he has personality. And you go on this very long quest line where you pretty much bond with him. So this is his house. This is where he lives. When he's needed in the real world, he does pop up and show up where he needs to. I will take you to my glorious teapot, because there is a quest that gives you a wonderful souvenir. And I'm going to show you the souvenir, because I'm a good person, encouraging all of you to end up going to Nyland for the wonderful souvenir. Okay, just gotta remember who has in his room. Put in your room. No. So I'm the one who created this wonderful masterpiece that you see in the middle of my inn. Took a lot of work. Tried to duplicate it. Struggled to duplicate it. Yes, I have lots of cats that live in my teapot. Anything that you can touch, you can move. It's wonderful. Takes a lot of effort. Here we have two of some of the most important people sharing a common space. It's a very funny inside joke. What's in here? Yes. So, the end of a quest, you're able to get a really cool picture created from your friend. So, up there on the wall, it's a part of a movie set. You get to help someone create a movie sponsoring your little guy. and you get a photograph as a result of it. And so there it is, posted on my wall. He's in the coolest part of the house. Notice how Hathem's here.
Nice.
You know,
how many cats are in here?
More than I would like. Yeah, the different artwork you see on the wall all comes from different World Quest events. Still active in the game. There's a whole cat room, because Farina is in it. Not this one, this is my kitchen.
Oh, wow. Oh, there was another cat that looked like Hunter.
Yeah. So there's a...
Oh, that's a big one.
Well, he's actually a story quest. You get him a part of a special event, which I don't know if the event is still giving it out, but...
They say that people who have lost their sense of joy are like...
But I'm in my cat room.
I, of course, must continue to blossom for as long as possible. So it falls to you to entertain me with a thrilling conversation.
No offense, Marina. Don't really care. I accidentally started a conversation with you. Well, because things have changed, I am able to now add more pets. Yes, I really do have quite a bit of felines.
Cats.
This used to be the cat room. I'm gonna put them all back. Well, can't put them all back, so I'll just put one of each back. Orange. Okay.
Yeah, that tuxedo cat looks a lot like
Bruce.
Edward.
Oh.
And Bruce.
So I saved it. So, one of each cat lives with Farina. And then the special cat, which came from an event. Remember to do your events. Yes, cats can wander if the door's open. Which is part of the reason why this cat's out here. Which is Telly.
I would love to be in that room. The cat's just loving me.
Yep. So this is my collection table. All the cool, unique things I got from different events that were limited edition. Same thing over here. Lots of special treasures. Worked really hard to build my universe. And then this is Tubby. I thought it was a penguin. It's a bird. When you have your teapot, you have the ability to level up your friendship levels with people. Tubby and the teapot get unlocked after you beat Liyue. You finish the story in Liyue, you get asked by Yanfei to help investigate something, and at the end of Yanfei's story quest, you befriend Madame Ping, and Madame Ping, you help Madame Ping build your teapot, essentially. And then at the end of the adventure, you are given the teapot. Now, it unlocks as a teleporter. You are also given the physical object of the teapot. So, you can actually summon your teapot in real time. Which I can definitely tell you is pretty cool. I'm just taking care of odds and ends, as you would call it. Because I didn't want to be lazy today. You buy a special potion, you can accelerate the process. Home Depot. Here's where you can buy the potion. Only buy 10 of the potion a day. In the beginning, it's 5 until you unlock a certain part of the game, then it's more than that. This is flower seeds. In Liyue, it's not Liyue, sorry. In Inazuma, but linked behind reputation, you can get what's known as a seed box. So if you have your seed box active as a gadget, you can actually loot seeds when you loot the plants in person. Or you can buy them. You could only have 20 of each seed at a time. I'm usually the one that's in here buying. The first thing I do is buy ore, because I need it more than anything. Yes, I really do have over 6,000 of this, because for 4 months straight, I bought it every week in the teapot for 4 months straight. That's how you have over 6,000. You get them from treasure chests, but I just became lazy. So I end up with a lot of stuff.
If you ever have any questions...
So this is what the teapot looks like when you pick the Sumeru option, which gets unlocked with story, so you won't get it right away. You can grow your own plants.
Insert flower seeds.
Yep. You can collect seeds in the what they call in the overworld, and then you can plant them here. You can only have 20 of each seed at a time. The nice part about doing this is you can grow exactly what you need if you can't find a way to farm it in real life. So, stuff I'm planting here, this is to level up Moani. This is to level up Kazuha and a couple other people from Inazuma. These are actually used for cooking. These are cooking ingredients.
Nice.
Each field will grow a different type of plant. So if you're short on something like carrots or radishes, mint, you need to grow something in particular, you can grow it. It does take 2.5, as you can see, just about 3 days to grow. So in the course of a week, you could actually, depending on when you plant it, you could get you can plant it 3 times 1 week, harvest it twice, and then the following week you would actually harvest it 3 times, plant it twice. So in the course of 5 weeks, you can plant it 5 times in 2 weeks. Just like how in person, when you pick a volberry, there's up to 4 per plant. Happens in the garden as well. The only thing you can't do, unfortunately, is you can't knock down trees. So in the real world, you hit a tree, you get wood from it. Right now, you can't do that in Teapot, but they're making all these wonderful mechanic improvements, so you might be able to in the future. You can put Paimon on your teapot. This is an active crafting table, crafting bench. I can craft anything I want to. I can in the real world. This allows you to change the music that plays in the background. You can unlock sounds as you come across them. They're called radiant spine crystals. They look like golden donuts scattered in a couple of different places. There is one of these that go inside of your teapot, and there's one that go on the outside world of the teapot. So you can change the music that's played back on the outside and the music that has changed on the inside. Right now, you can't hear it very loud because I have my audio turned down in the game. Sometimes music's a little overwhelming. From past, I have a lot of event past things, so I have different plants I can interact with and change. It's easier to see it during the day because they're more vibrant. These are from different events. Dodoko's Fantastic Adventure that was done last summer. This is Thruxy. There is a video that I first posted my Genshin stream almost a year ago. Involves Thruxy. Then every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have a traveling teapot merchant. Traveling teapot has a very few selected things you can buy. Now, you can buy 2 spine crystals every week. They will change. I think there are 20 total you can buy from him that you can't find out in the real world. You can also buy terrain, which allows you to create floating spaces. You can buy a cat, a dog, and an other creature. Sometimes it's a boar, sometimes it's a crane. You can acquire those. Where he shows up on your map varies week to week. So if you're like me, who's obsessed about layouts, I try to make my layouts designable. Make it look like they're in a town. The best part about having a forge, which is what this is, I can actually use it. If I don't want to do it in the real world and I want to come to my teapot, I can come to my teapot and make a forge. And it's great. Same rules apply. Same thing with cooking. I can cook in my teapot.
Nice.
So I don't have to stress about it or worry about it. Teapot is designed for several different...
I'll be right back. I have to get some water.
That's fine.
Be right back.
That's fine.
In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while it's there.
It's a shame.
This realm is truly beginning to thrive.
That one hasn't gone up yet. There's still one I haven't touched.
I'm back.
So, when you first start out in the game, you are actually given 3 islands you could pick from. That's the Cool Island, which looks like you're being at the beach. It's supposed to represent essentially the Golden Archipelago. I know it's an old event that didn't resurface. You have the Emerald Peak, which is the only realm that I didn't actually build anything in. 1800 is the default house. So you can live in the Emerald Peak, which is the pretty much Liyue, but you're in the side of Liyue that's near Chinsing Village, where it's a beautiful place. And then where I started was the floating abode, which looks like you disappeared into a domain. Silken Courtyard is Inazuma's. This is probably my favorite one before Sumeru came out, and then the one that we're gonna switch real quick. I know. When you switch, you can only have one realm active at a time, and then when you switch realms, it takes over. This one, everyone's built except for that one. but the reason why we're coming here is I want to show you a mechanic that only happens when you're in this realm. So, in Fontaine, as you can tell, we're actually in a dome underwater. So in Fontaine, you have the ability to swim underwater. Well, in this domain, it's a little different. They have whirlpools that actually get you from island to island. So this was just more of showing you guys a really cool mechanic the game introduced. As you can see, my wonderful village. The Melazine village. So, if I wanted to... Where is it? I want to switch islands. It's this way. Apparently, just walked past the entrance. So if I want to switch islands, I can go through this whirlpool, and it will teleport me to the next island. Now, you can't freely swim. It's an automatic whirlpool. Kind of wish you could freely swim, but then it would count the same mechanics of, oh, you can't do that, you'll drown. Even though Fontaine, you can pretty much walk around. But yeah, I just wanted to show off how pretty epically cool my islands are. I took inspiration for this little courtyard from Lord of the Rings, where all the buildings, it looks like a small town. And then the giant fountains in the middle. And then there's a tree over here. So these teleporters, you can actually teleport from island to island. But yes, I love creating my little restaurant. It makes me feel like I'm in Fontaine. I wanted to create an illusion. And then over here is the stage.
Nice.
Back then you were limited on what you were allowed to put in your teapot. They kind of increased the limit, so it's not so bad anymore. But essentially, I put different things on display, different important characters that change with the story, all that fun stuff. But yes, this is how you increase your reputation with your, or increase your friendship levels with your people. Since we're running around, I will gladly show you what the other realms look like. This one being my favorite. Before Sumeru, this one was my favorite. I spent a good 6 hours building this realm. Probably one of my favorite layouts. More for the fact of this little tranquil garden that I totally crafted from inspiration. My plants. Each island has its own theme. So, dogs are here. This is a village. I do have a boar. Interact with it. It freaks out, but it doesn't die, and it just times out and comes back. I think of this one. E. Oh, Ito, you're still out here. I totally forgot. You're already at level 10 friendship. I think I left you in charge of the village. I think that's why you're still here.
Okay.
And then Yaimi goes up here because I built a shrine for our wonderful priestess. I put this building here.
Nice.
This is not a mansion. This is actually a building you can construct. A lot of materials, and I had a lot of fun with it. Then I had Yaimika over here with her shrine. She also is level 10 at this point. So this is an old layout. Like I said, a lot has changed when the game first came out. this probably had one of my best inner layout designs. You can get a fish tank that you can.
It's a big one.
Yep.
Like the largest one I've ever seen. It's like aquarium grade.
It is. So this is my kitchen dining room. This is one I actually gave two shits about making stuff. So this is my family room, my giant aquarium. This is like your den, loungy area. This is your kitchen, your dining room. And here, I took the Japanese design of, hey, they shouldn't see the bed. So, Yelan was in here. Over here in this room. It was Ayaka until Ayaka hit friendship level 10, and then it went to Ayato. But still, it's the principle of, in Japanese, or in China, you never want to reveal your personal living space. Because I valued Ayaka so much, I gave her the music machine. Each room was going to represent a different nation, originally, but things have changed. Clearly, characters that are in here are, I wouldn't necessarily say entirely outdated, but I did have a overwhelming amount of cats living here.
I heard one of them meow.
This was a combined room with two people in it. I changed it to just one. This ended up being a room. Everyone that you're currently seeing. Kuki is level 10 friendship. He's level 10 friendship. So everyone that lives in this house is at max friendship. I can go in and edit and change and take people out, but I really like what I'm currently doing. My house just really appears bigger with my current layout in Sumeru. I'm just slowly going one room at a time. Every time one of my people hits max level, because it will tell you they will hit level 10,
This realm is true.
I do switch them out. And when I switch them out, I increase things. So I'm going to go back to my perfect little realm.
Between the two places that you showed, they had a lot of cats. It's like cat.
Well, cats give you 100 points. So essentially, the plan of the teapot, and I'll show it to you in Trust Rank. You want to have enough Adepto energy to make the most amount of currency an hour, because Adepto energy turns into its own currency. That's totally separate. This will show you where each of my, so these are every area overview. I'm working on making this one 30,000. As you can see, I'm at 29990. So I just need to put 10 Adepto energy somewhere, and I'm at 30,000. It's not necessarily a personal goal. They haven't exactly increased Fit for a King to something even higher. The bounty accumulation has to deal with your friendship level to your companions, and the 30 an hour has to deal with how much currency I make every hour. So, companions hosted. These are the current companions. If you go...
If you ever have any questions...
If you go into my characters, character selection, you sort it by friendship level. Let me take these guys out of the equation. Let me take the ones I'm farming for out of the equation. So when you look at friendship level, about half my people are at friendship level 10 because of how the teapot works. So originally I picked my favorite characters. Then I picked my favorite region. So most of the characters I have capped level are all from the same region. Now, Inazuma is near perfect. Inazuma, there's about 15 to 18 characters a region. Almost all of Inazuma is at friendship level 10. Not every character, but a majority of them. Sumeru was second, and Fontaine is third. So as you can see, everyone after this character, the next 8 should theoretically be in my teapot. I kind of want a little different. Gaming is in there. I do use him as a playable character. So if you use him as a character and you leave him in the teapot, you do stack that friendship. Nuvulette is one of my favorite characters. Risley and Nuvulette, as you can see, are very close to each other. It's because I use Nuvulette as a playable character, whereas Risley I barely use. Farina. Don't like her either, but she's in the teapot. Everyone else is kind of slowly, because if you look at anyone past him, everyone's kind of a 4, a 3, 2, or a 1. It's not that I don't like these characters, it's more of the friendship feature is new. I want to say it came out right around the time Sumeru launched. So, politely playing catch up. I am trying to go by region. So, with the current 2 new characters, I have Kachina. Everyone gets Kachina in the game. And Milani. They are, as you can see, are both, well, Kachina's at level 1 because she literally just got added once Ganyu hit 10. Milani's been in the teapot almost a month from when she launched. That's also because someone else at level 10 came out. So I only switch out my people when one of my existing ones hits 10. So when Gaming hits 10 for friendship level, it's based off 2 factors. The first factor is how are they as a character? Because a lot of what I determine is based off constellation. So I have quite a bit C6 on the 4 stars. So when you play the game as long as I have, it's just naturally gonna happen. I do have Kachina C6. But that's one factor. The other factor that comes into play is what name card do I want? So a lot of these name cards actually come from characters. So a lot of so it's me figuring out of the name cards that come from characters, who would I want to unlock next? Who do I think has a pretty cool one? So Jane is pretty cool because it's dandelions. Kyle looks like his constellation. Chi-Chi's is interesting, looks like a laughing ghost. So that's pretty much what it narrows down to. Officials, the Raven. It's just figuring out from here, out of who's not unlocked, who would I want to go after. Wanderer's pretty nice. I'm someone who's naturally attracted to purples, blues, greens, teal. So I might go after certain ones. Fremenes I think is great because it's dancing penguins. Nuvulette's is always great, but I was expecting a little more from that. Cloud Retainer is not bad. It's like her. But essentially that's what I look for, is out of the ones I don't have, which character ones would I want to have available to me. And that's pretty much what it's loosely based off of. Because once you hit level 10, you get their name card unlocked. Since the ones that are at their highest is Gaming. Gaming would be the next one to be unlocked. These are in order of launch. So this would be Gommings, when Gommings is done. After that, you have Nuvulette. You have Risley. I like Risley as a character, not so much the fact that he's that person. But yeah, so it gives you a general idea of what I loosely based off. Sometimes I'll do one whole region since Inazuma's region is almost finished. I might just fill it with Inazuma people. I try to spruce it up. If I know technically if I get all the old crowd done first, makes it easier for the new crowd. Same principle is in reverse. If all the new ones are at max friendship, I can go backwards.
In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while it's there.
Someone did a formula at one point that it takes about 3 months. It's roughly 3 to 4 months if you don't use the character to get them from level 1 to level 10 in friendship. If you don't use the character, you don't play with the character. So this character, don't use it. Because you can see it's the only character that has level 1 with no at all energy. Nothing against her.
Yes.
Not my favorite playstyle.
Come on, enough
Putting her in the teapot,
Let's go.
I would say 4 months. She would go from friendship 1 to friendship 10. A lot of work, but in my case, I can put 8 people in my teapot at once. So if I can gather up 10 unfortunate souls that are all at level 1, we can see where teapot goes. But if I do it that way, I'm going to make sure I don't use them to really test how long it's going to take. If I put them in different times, they're not going to... Oh, Farazan is level 10 because I like her dress because it reminds me of a stained glass window. Before I even knew the character at all, I wanted her because of her outfit, because it reminds me of a stained glass window.
Yes. Love the blue and teal color. My house has stained glass windows too.
Uh-huh.
I'm all for work-life balance, but I think this is pushing it.
I hate having dots, but I know you come from unlocking content. I have every character in the game but 2, because I am one of those people.
Yeah, my stained glass windows are, I think, orange and green.
Not gonna lie, I'm one of the few people who actually don't like using Raiden.
Let's go.
Not saying she's a bad character. She's great. Part of me to stop using her actually comes down to my ex-girlfriend. I told my ex-girlfriend after we started living together for a short period of time, this is before we were dating, she reminded me a lot of Raiden. Naive and unaware of things that are important, and then furious when she has a bad day. Well, after playing the game for a while, she started copying catting me and playing the game. And then she turned into a whole different person. So, my ex-girlfriend went from being a Raiden into acting like Farina. Now, if any of you have played the story, I won't spoil anything in this stream, but my ex-girlfriend went from acting like a Raiden Shogun, kind, gentle, innocent, unaware of what she was doing, to deliberately deceiving people. And I'm not saying the Farina's lore is that, but she will always be known to me as a knockoff of Farina. She's a combination of Farina and Raiden, unfortunately. I keep mentioning a girl named Kiri. Kiri reminds me of Ayaka. Kiri is a very nice human being. In my phone, she's actually saved as Ayaka's photo. So Kiri in my life reminds me of Ayaka in the theme. My best friend Mike reminds me of Ito. Childish, center of attention, full of laughter. You can never have a bad time with Mike. You can never have a bad time in the game with Ito.
In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while
Other
it's there.
friends. I know Hannah hasn't exactly been around, but Hannah reminds me of Fischl.
I created another universe and founded paradise.
For Hannah likes to do cosplay pretty frequently and dress up as other characters. Fischl's real name, unfortunately, the event is over and will never come back, but Fischl's real name is Amy. And she pretends that she's from another world, which is why she's a perfect replica for my friend Hannah. Tignari, I have so many friends that can pull off being him, unfortunately. One of my friends that I had a slight dating interest in, and we went on a couple dates, was named Phil. He lives in New Jersey. He reminds me of Tignari's basic structure. My current roommate reminds me of Gaming. Gaming is a very interesting human being. My current roommate has a Korean heritage and is full of energy, and they just have similarities. What else? Nihida reminds me of my childhood best friend. Her name is Celia. She is a triplet. Not that Nihida has siblings, but her innocence reminds me of my friend. And then Ganyu reminds me of a girl that I call Leslie. Leslie is her real name. She was a girl that I had a romantic interest in for several months. Still friends, but her obsession with being perfect is exactly what Ganyu is. Ganyu is a workaholic, half goat, half human, and I wouldn't say Leslie always falls asleep, but Ganyu works herself to death. He's a great character. I view myself as Kaching, because I also am a workaholic, but I like looking good when I do it. So, probably one of the prettiest characters in the game. I know people who remind me of Klee. Explosive.
So heavy.
Adorable. This is her summertime ghetto outfit. Her original outfit was this one. This is what she's known as the Spark Knight. Because she makes things go boom.
Totoko, where are you?
Yes.
So. Klee is amazing. My friend Brandon probably reminds me of Diluc, only because he's there, has military experience, and gets straight to the friggin' point. So, that's my little circle of friends. I know another Riley, not my ex-girlfriend, girl I used to work with at Wawa, who's now a supervisor. Yomiya has the energy of this other Riley. Riley, spelled Ryle, is younger than me. We went on several dates together, and full of the excitement and enthusiasm just like this person is. I can tell you, my ex-girlfriend was jealous of this other Riley. A, for stealing her name, and B, getting very defensive that I ironically dated two women named Riley.
Balance, but
and a bunch of other things. Kazuha reminds me a lot of other people I know as a collective. My ex-boyfriend Ross Los's character probably be Zhao, just because of his mysteriousness. Where did you go, Zhao? Are you all the way up here? Yes, you are. So Zhao has a very mysterious appearance, attitude, wants to be a part of things, but then doesn't. Has fists of rage from time to time. So, that's Genshin in terms of how my people in my life matter. If I assign you a Genshin character, I'm not making fun of you. It's just when I play that character, it reminds me of you. But yeah, no, Genshin's full of all these wonderful, amazing characters. It's a shame they're not real people in real life. Still think her dress is the best.
Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go.
Well, I think it would be really cool if someone allowed me to design. Like, I'm not a fashion designer, but I know how to replicate something if I look at it. So it would be really nice if someone would let me authentically design something to look like a Genshin outfit. And then put it on display. Like I said, I'm not a fashion designer. I don't want to go into fashion. But if you're giving me the opportunity to design you an outfit to look identical to the original, I'm sure I could pull it off.
This is pushing it.
I think it would be so cool.
Yes. Anyway, that is... I will need to go for now because I have to get ready for work.
That's totally fine. Enjoy your night.
I'm glad that I was able to talk with you tonight and watch your stream tonight.
Yep. Tomorrow, game night's canceled because I've been under the weather most of the week, and I don't want to get anyone else sick. I am on antibiotics, but that's not the point. Just don't want to expose anyone else to getting sick.
Yeah, the potentially deadly viruses like COVID.
Oh, I have strep throat, and I am on antibiotics. And strep wipes you out pretty frequently. Now, the benefit of being not working and on temporary leave of absence because I can't work at a college while I have strep throat that I probably got from the college. Not pointing fingers. It's no one's fault. But I do feel like, to a degree, I appreciate being off, but at the same time, I like working. So it is, to me, a bit of a disappointment. But at the end of the day, I had fun. I am actually finishing my college class on my leave of absence. So I will go back to work hopefully on Monday. If there's no new symptoms, I can go back to work on Monday. And I will have everything done but my final for my current American Sign Language Level 3 course. ASL Level 4 will start on October 16th, which will be my last language that I would have to take. Don't get me wrong, the language is very scary and makes me nervous. I have a comprehension reading problem, so translating and understanding anything is very difficult. So, but yeah, no, I'm very glad that you guys all came and sat and chatted with me. I am still getting used to how streaming works, learning how to properly perform. Person that was on this call today has a streaming channel of his own on a personal level, and he also streams with his friends through the advanced crew. So you might have heard him in previous conversations. Since I got him into playing the game Genshin Impact, and in return, he agreed to stream with me. Now, at some point, when he is able to do co-op mode, we will be streaming live together on both channels. So, can't wait to see you guys later. Alright, enjoy your night. Good night, Cal.
Good night, Rachel. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Have a good night.
And to my amazing fans out there, you got to meet my dragon that I named Groudon. Pretty cool. I'm going to leave it here tonight because I'm going to hop off here and go to Honkai Star Rail. Like I said, as I slowly teased about, I do want to get into detail on how I think things are going to play out in terms of the story of Genshin Impact, the lore based off what we already know. I'm just in that hunting stage mode of looking for the information so I can make a chronological timeline to make things easier for everyone to understand. In my head, everything's all jumbled up. In real life, I want to try to make it less jumbled, organize it in a timeline, and then go in the game and find it. So if I create a narration of the gameplay that's not my actual voice, I want you guys to be able to follow along with my theory. If you like this video, please like it. If you feel that someone else could benefit from going through or just wants to rewatch Emilie's story. I did do Cloran earlier today. Siegeween will be done roughly an hour from now. I don't like to make my streams too long, just for the general nature of exceeding a certain timeline is overwhelming. So this is probably the longest I will go. The only reason why I would go longer would have to do with the Archon quest, because I would do that straightforward. Alright, enjoy your night. If you all are coming back for my Siegeween, I will start my Siegeween stream around 11. If I don't get to Siegeween tonight, it will be first thing tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. See you all tomorrow. See ya.